All right, let's go.
Jolly holiday show. That's the opening to this one. Hotline League episode 56. Because we've got Loco Doco on. He's been streaming all week long, talking about the roster rumors, predicting some stuff. Calling PoE, not joining CLG. We got Mark. We got Mark Z over there. Mark Z. He's recovering, but he's already kind of in that Christmas mood. I'm filming something tomorrow, so everything's very holiday. There's so much to talk about. So many roster rumors. So many roster announcements. All that and more starting on Hotline League episode 56 right now. And I have to say, by the way, sponsored by Alienware. Thank you, Alienware, for the sponsorship of the show. We'll be talking more about them later. But let's get into the episode. First off, introducing my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark Z?
I am losing it. I'm burned out.
You're burned out. Okay, this is the off season. You're not supposed to be burned out.
I spent all day in the past couple days doing stuff I don't like doing.
Okay, like what?
I'm not at liberty to say.
You're not at liberty to say. Is that like,
Well,
are
it's
you?
Not like it's not like I literally can't. I just really.
You don't want to talk about it. Oh, you get in trouble.
I mean, it would cause a storm.
Oh, really? Are we gonna find out what it is eventually?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay. Is it like team? Is it League of Legends team related?
Who knows?
Are you coaching a team?
No, fuck no. That's 100% off the table. Apparently, I'm quiet, Travis. So can you please turn me up?
Yeah, I'll turn you up. I don't know. You're very loud to me, so people always wait till the show starts to.
No, people were saying it before. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you should be a little louder.
Cool.
I'm going to turn myself down more because I think I tend to get pretty loud. Our guest this week is Loco Doco. How's it going, Loco?
Hi, Travis. It's going pretty well. I'm glad to be on my second favorite League of Legends show,
Okay. What is your first?
State of the League.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Well.
No, it's Listen Loco.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I feel like you're a little biased in that assessment, but I appreciate your return to the show. Because Loco is a returning guest. We haven't had too many returning guests on the show, but this is it's been almost 1 year since Loco came on previously. Loco, how have you been this week?
How'd that one go?
Okay, sorry. One question at a time.
I said, how did the first episode of Logo go? I actually don't remember. Was there any drama?
There was no.
We got a lot of views. So
yes.
I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, it went great. But how have you been this week? You've been doing a lot of predictions and interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of predictions, a lot of speculations, little things I hear and there.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting.
Are you moving into a like reporter role? Is this like the move for you?
Well, I want to do interviews. I'm probably going to do some interviews at All Stars, and I'm probably going to do interviews with some of the owners.
Nice.
About the rosters.
Ooh, you got competition, Travis.
Ugh, I hate this shit. Every time everybody acts like there can only be one interviewer in the space, and they're like, oh, who's better? Who's this? Whatever. It's just like people can do content and interviews and all the stuff they want to do. Who cares?
I think me and Travis could have taken two kinds of approach. We could have been very confrontational, and I could have been like, no, fuck no, I'm not going to do Hotline League, and be like, no, I want the interviews for myself. Or content creators can help each other and help each other grow and do a win-win situation instead of having small dick energy and trying to push each other out. And me and Travis are both big boys, so
you're here to leech.
I'm here to leech.
We're at 3K. What were you at? You were at 900 Loco sounds.
Jesus.
I'm here to leech.
He's had good viewership this week.
Mark, just like you were here to leech on Listen Loco, I'm here to leech on Hotline League.
Yeah, that's what collaboration is, just like taking turns leeching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, let's get into the show. So,
well, wait. First, we have to ask Loco what happened with the CLG rumor.
Okay. Well, for the CLG thing, so I had a really, really good source that told me where Power of Evil would be going. And why I believe this source said Power of Evil, and it also marked a lot of the European players going where. So I think going up against Jacob Wolf and saying what he reported was wrong was like a really ballsy move. But I had this source for a while, and I kept getting more and more confident because this document had about 9 roster moves, and 7 of them were confirmed. They were not confirmed when I received this document, but 7 of these roster moves got confirmed on the day that I said Jacob Wolf was wrong. So I really bought into this document because it had European movements and it told me what team Power of Evil would go to, and then 7 out of the 9 roster moves were confirmed. There was Power of Evil to a team that wasn't confirmed, and there was one more thing that wasn't confirmed that still isn't getting confirmed. So I just really believe this document more.
Was
and
it?
more so.
Was this like an anonymous document that was handed to you? You just got it and then it started, or did somebody tell you?
Somebody told me. Somebody leaked me a doc.
Gotcha.
You hacked it yourself? Oh my god, that's so cool.
He hacked into the mainframe.
Yeah.
So what I believe is that document at that point was correct, and
Yeah.
it was maybe all the things that were signed, and then Power of Evil decided on CLG. But anyway, I mean, Jacob Wolf had better information. I apologized to him publicly. I got on a call with him. I apologized to him on a call. Like, I mean,
He wanted you to call him and apologize?
no, I did that myself because I
Okay.
called him out publicly and I was wrong. It's just
Okay.
like, I guess, like basic manners.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta phrase it differently the first time. You just gotta say conflicting reports say that
Yeah.
actually CLG's mid laner is not Power.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was wrong. I apologize to Jacob
Yeah.
Wolf.
I both love and people saying Loco's quiet. I'll turn him up. I both love and hate this time because it in a way, look, I understand the entertainment value of all this stuff, but it's this weird kind of like let's all leak secrets thing. But it's also really fun for the audience because everybody craves information. So I totally get the kind of hype around it and people want to know stuff. There are some times where it just feels really weird, and sometimes I worry. I wonder what you think of this, Loco. I worry that the media or different personalities or people are used in a sense because like an agent or a owner or a manager or player or whatever, they want to like put one narrative out there because it helps them with their negotiations, and like it's just kind of it's a weird time.
Yeah. I didn't have a manager or like a agent come to me and like told me to tell a story or give me a source.
Yeah.
Most of the rumors I heard from friends, and I mean, there are things, so there were agents and there were players and there were even owners that came up to me and asked me for help regarding a player or getting
Yeah.
a player or introduction. I did that free of charge, and anything I learned helping a team or helping a player, I did not leak. So
Gotcha.
I wasn't able to get, I guess, like used to spread a narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I was like through some fucking 200 IQ shit, but anyone I helped helped on an official basis, like nothing like leaked from my mouth on that.
Gotcha. Well, it's been fun for sure. We are going to have Seb on the show later. This show, it's for those that don't know, Seb Park runs Clutch Gaming. I've already been informed that unfortunately, due to matters outside of his control, he won't be able to talk about the full lineup. But we know that they announced Demonte earlier today, so we'll be able to talk to him a little bit about that. And also,
Were those other moves confirmed by him, or like the ones with like Apollo and Hakuho going to Echo Fox and shit?
I don't know if they have said that yet.
Did they say thank you? I can look up real quick.
Yeah, the thank you thing. I feel like it's become a meme. Like C9 did like a thank you hi thing the very first time he retired, and now everybody. Oh yeah, they did do a thank you. Thank you, Apollo,
Yeah.
Solo, and Hakuho on Clutch. So those have been confirmed. The departure of those three, but I don't think they said where they are going at, and I don't know if. Oh, they did
So
say it says Echo. They've been transferred to Echo Fox,
Yeah.
so you can talk about their transfer, and then you can talk about Demonte joining. So we'll be able to do that.
All
I
right,
want to
so
hear a team say no, thank you, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
thank
No,
you.
no thanks. Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like we have Niski in the chat, by the way. What do you think?
Hey!
Yeah. I don't know if he's still around, but people were spamming about him earlier. So Niski joining to C9, we'll be able to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, before we get into calls, maybe we should, first off, we can put a document up. Where's that? I have that doc links that you made, Loco.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I even completed more of it. There's
You
only
complete more of
one.
it?
Yeah, one spot on the NA document that's not complete.
Okay, I will show this
Is
on
this
screen
of
right now.
roster moves?
Yeah, so if you hit exclamation mark doc in chat, Mark, it'll pop up.
No.
Okay, well, I'm also showing it on screen. So, so these are the. So what is it? So green is announced, right?
Green is Jacob Wolf confirmed, or
Okay.
Jacob Wolf confirmed, or on global contract database,
Okay.
or announced.
And yellow is
Rumors.
rumors. Okay. So they're
Oh my god, why is everything so big?
I mean, I think it's just the way it loads. I don't know.
I love Loco's formatting.
I mean,
Well, I made it big because I look at it on stream, so
Yeah.
it's easier for it to be big.
okay, so the green ones are not, or the yellow ones are not announced. So we'll be talking. So if you want to call in and talk about any of these rumors, what who you think should be jungle for TSM because they haven't announced or confirmed it yet. What you think about, Echo Fox's new strategy and if they should keep Dardoch because that's not confirmed yet. If you want to talk about GGS's roster, which has been not officially announced but is reported, we can do all that stuff on the show. And again, we'll have Seb on later as well to discuss his side of the off season as well. He'll be calling in. Other than that, Mark, do you want to give a little spiel on how the call system works?
Yes, sir. If this is your guys' first time watching the show, this is how it works. I'll be spamming in chat right now a link to the Discord. You're going to want to go and join up on that Discord. And when you get there, you need to join Pleb Calls or Pleb Calls 2. Once you're in, you can mute your microphone so you don't, and headsets, you don't have to listen to people. And then in the Pleb Topics text channel, you're going to go ahead and post whatever your topic is. If you're posting in there without being in one of the voice channels, I can't actually add you to our call. If I like your topic after seeing it, I will pull you into the waiting room, and you will be there until it's your turn. When I come down, I'll ask you to do a quick mic check, make sure you sound good, and then we'll pull you into the on-air room to go over whatever it is you want to talk about.
Cool. And if you are a sub, by the way, first off, thank you for being a sub. And it also allows you to get into the subtopics chat where you can discuss, or you can put your topics in there. It does move a little slower there, so that's kind of your advantage, and we do check both both chats, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. So don't sub if that's the whole point. But it is a
well, you should, because everyone should sub no matter what.
You should sub no matter what, but not because you want the subtopics chat, because you want to support me buying things like the Santa outfit that I'll be wearing on a stream video tomorrow. All right. Other than that, I don't know. Mark, you want to start grabbing people?
Yeah, I got one guy waiting, so I'll just get him, and then I'll keep reading.
Cool. Very good. Off we go into it. I want to shout out some people who have subbed recently. Thank you to Spank Daddy Fank. Some of your guys' names. Stahil gifted a sub to Poro Satan. AOD Nightshade. Geek Out. Raider Doogie. Brooksy 32. Atrocity Killing You Guy 6 months. And looks like, almost not. Dr. Manhattan gifted a sub to Niski. Welcome, Niski, to the stream. Exuria, Tevam12, Korean Magic, Spaghetti Butt. What a great name. Simus104. And we've got Captain Elias on the stream, or in the call right now. Captain Elias, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Europe, Sweden.
From Sweden. Very good.
Yeah,
well,
just
hey,
woke up.
I think you've been on my channel in the past couple of days as I've been streaming talking about this stuff. So welcome to the show. I think you said you wanted to call in, so it looks like Mark pulled you.
Yeah,
Ooh, lucky.
Yeah, very good. That worked out.
I am looking.
Yeah, what time is it in Sweden?
It's 5 a.m. basically, or yeah.
Okay. Are you naturally up at this time, or did you wait up to be on the show?
I mean, I've been listening to this show for pretty much half a year now, and I usually just watch the VODs on YouTube, or now I was going to work early today, and I figured I'll just go up a little bit earlier to watch the show.
Are you naturally Swedish? Because you don't have as thick of an accent as most Swedish people we have on the show.
I speak to a lot of Americans. All right.
Okay, I was just wondering why.
Yeah.
No, I'm naturally Swedish.
Cool. Well, thank you and welcome to the show. What is your take for the show tonight?
Well, I have two topics, just one small one, but I'll go to the main one. It's basically, I think that Golden Guardians will be top 4 with this lineup that they announced.
Top 4. Okay.
Yeah, and I was on your stream. I think it was 2 days ago when you talked about Froggen, and
Oh, no.
I don't know if you remember this, but I actually said Froggen was a top 3 mid laner in NA.
Yes, I remember that because I have been. So for context for Mark and Loco, I am a little more skeptical on the Froggen pickup than most people. Because one,
Yeah.
I think there are people like Captain Ilias who think that Froggen is a top 3 mid in North America, despite the fact he didn't play this year. And two, I feel like the Froggen pickup is way too similar to what happened last year, where they picked up High, who was this like aged veteran and had played a lot in the past, and maybe isn't the best or isn't as good as they had been at one point in time, and it feels too similar to the move that they made last year. So that's why I'm skeptical about it. But I don't know. What do you guys? First off, do you think is it safe right now to be making predictions around what team is going to be the best and rank them
Yep,
when we don't even have
absolutely.
all the teams announced?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Is he,
funny enough, this guy said that because I filmed Listen Local earlier with Doran, and we made that exact same bet. Doran said that Golden Guardians would be top 4 at the end of spring season, and I said it was ridiculous. And
because he
as
loves
for-
Froggen.
Yeah, he loves Froggen. And Trav, what's your credential in terms of judging players? Like, are you highly rated in League of Legends? Do you
No,
look at his
I'm an
outfit,
idiot.
he's Santa.
No one should believe anything I say. But I did accurately predict the Ole doublelift issues at the beginning of last year. I don't know if it was on the episode you were on, Loco, but there are
Can we
certain
not
things.
talk about the goddamn Shake Shack prophecy a year later?
I'm just saying, Ole's not on the team anymore, and I feel like the Shake Shack prophecy ended up being.
Well, you
true.
don't have a prophecy around
Well,
Froggen. I haven't heard it.
I actually agree with you. Like at the beginning of the year, I thought Double Lift Ole would at the end clash because Double has a way he wants to play League of Legends, and Ole has a way he wants to play League of Legends, and
Yeah.
eventually I think they were going to go separate ways. As for like the Froggen thing, you compare Froggen to High, but Froggen and High are very different players than
Like complete opposite almost.
yeah, in terms of strength, like Froggen is individually very strong. He has individually shined where High was individually strong at a point, but towards a certain part, he was more about making others better. And C9 played him every single kind of position imaginable, not because he was individually strong, but they were just doing anything possible to keep him on the team due to the intangibles he brought.
Yeah.
So I think Kai and Froggen are very different players, even though it is like Golden Guardians picking up an old school veteran. I can see Froggen working better than High.
Okay.
I think I'm also someone who was pretty skeptical about Froggen's performance after failing to make playoffs, like, what was it, 4 or 6 splits in a row with Echo Fox? It was just like, it's a little results based, but at the end of the day, like, even Power of Evil made a better run at playoffs, I think, with the Optic lineup than Froggen ever did with his Echo Fox lineups. And so, like, I really don't think we've seen. I think Froggen mechanically has no problems matching up against anyone in lane, but I think his ability to affect the actual game's outcome is a lot lower than what it used to be, just with how the game's evolved and stuff like that. Now, maybe if the game stays really lane dominant, like it seemed to matter a lot in the last meta at Worlds, then I actually think he's a lot more valuable than in the past. If the meta stays relatively close to what it was at Worlds, but if it goes back to like what older metas have been for the most part, where like a lot of mids are like control mages and they're roaming around and stuff like that, or I just have big concerns about him.
Yeah.
I think the team is the best team he's had around him though.
Yeah.
For
So
a
that's
long
what-
time.
That's kind of what I meant by this. I wasn't like all Froggen, he'll fucking carry them to finals or whatever. I was more about the Nero's lineup that he has put up in this is I think it's a big ups to him, because I honestly I look at this lineup and like I mean I like most of the NA players right now that's like been picked up, but I actually think he put up a pretty good lineup for this year. So I'm really hyped for GGS, honestly. I wasn't watching them last year, I'll tell you that much, but like now I'm actually kind of hyped about it. I don't know.
By the way, Reggie's in chat right now. He said C89th, and then he said Travis is a Mimi, and then he's randomly
Is
said,
that actually Andy?
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
him. That's why there's the verification
Really?
mark.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then he said, I don't give a fucks, and then he said girls are cool, which is a meme. He's just kind of going through all the memes from the past year. I think he's breaking down.
Hey Reggie, when Steve memes, he drops 50 subs. That'd be a really cool meme to
No,
copy.
I think what's very interesting is I wish Reggie could come on and talk about how he's going to be playing jungle for TSM, because he announced that earlier on Twitter. I don't know if you saw
I
that,
did
Mark.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually TSM's new jungle right now. He says Steve is pretend rich. I don't know.
He's gonna file for bankruptcy in
Yeah.
6 months.
I don't know what's going on there. I don't. Okay, well, Andy, you can feel free to keep trolling the Twitch chat. Once you're able to announce your final roster, we'd love to have you come on Hotline League and discuss it.
I guess to get back to the thing, like you were saying, Captain Ilias, I think this is a much better roster than what Froggen's had before, like you were saying. And I think this is a bit of a make or break split or year for him, because if this roster can at least get playoffs and be competitive, then I think that says a lot about a lot of these players, because a fair amount of them are kind of looking for a bit of a comeback year. Haunter obviously is that case. Contracts is that case after being so successful with C9. Golden Guardians was a flop. Froggen being teamless. Ola getting ditched for TL. Like, I think a lot of these guys are going to be looking for validation. And for some of them, it could be, if it flops, like a very damning part of their career.
Well, and this is what's funny is the narrative for Golden Guardians this year is actually the same narrative as it was last year. They just have a better lineup. Haunter's like a top laner that was rejected by his previous team, like Lorlo. Contracts is still Contracts. Froggen, I feel like even if he's better than High and has a better chance of succeeding, the narrative is the same. Definitely. And Ole is Team Liquid's support that they decided they didn't want anymore, which is the same thing as Matt. So I am more excited about this roster. It is just funny because it's like this is actually just the same narrative.
There's a little bit of difference where last year it was about, let's grow NA talent. We're going to invest into NA talent. We don't need immediate results. Where this year, I feel like it's more, we want results. And one thing that I do want to commend Golden Guardians on, I think they did get good players. I'm not sure if it was coincidental, but I'm not sure if it was purpose. But this time they're going to have a lot more eyes and a lot more fans on the team.
Yeah.
Froggen, someone with huge fan base. Haunter, someone with huge fan base. Ole, someone with a very huge NA fan base. So I think not just performance-wise, like just overall org, narrative-wise, I think this team is in a much better place than it was last year.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very very curious to see how it goes. So will they be top 4? Loco, you said no to Thorin whenever he made that prediction, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll say no.
No? Okay, I'll say yes
What?
because we need
Thank
somebody
you,
to say
Travis.
yes. So
Thank you, Travis.
yeah. But I'm still skeptical on Froggen. Froggen has I'm not going to say that Froggen's a top 3 mid.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Loco and
Remember
Mark,
that time
you guys say
better Froggen and Haunter couldn't make Worlds and finish? I guess they did technically finish top 4. So maybe they do. I'm talking about TSM last year.
So are you changing your mind?
I'm thinking more about it. This is basically worse TSM.
Yeah.
Mark, think of the other teams that would be top 4, and then compare them to fourth.
Right, so I'm saying TL, maybe
100
C9.
Thieves. 100 Thieves. Easy 100 Thieves.
You think 100 Thieves is easy?
Yeah.
See, the reason I think that they'll be top 4 is because I think one of the teams that should be top 4 will just fall apart. Like, and that's what I think will
for
allow
sure.
Golden Guardians.
Always happens every year.
Yeah, you like one of these teams will be like really disappointing in spring, and then they'll come back. It'll be 100T, it'll be TSM, it'll be Cloud9. Something will happen to one of these other teams that are supposed to be up there, and it'll open up a spot for Golden Guardians.
I'll still say no, but I think it is pretty close.
Okay, you almost made the jump.
I almost joined you because I hate
God
Logan,
damn it.
but ended up agreeing.
Here is one. I mean, we'll do more predictions, I'm sure, as the split starts. But if this roster is true, one concern I do have for it, by the way, is that I think Haunter and Froggen are going to be wildly opposing to Ole in terms of personality. Like, everything I've heard about Haunter at TSM is that he's like pretty aggressive, forthright dude. I think him and Froggen will kind of butt heads, but in like that productive way. And they'll both be like, come on, dude, that's shit. You got to get better. Ole, I don't know if he plays that well in that environment given how things shook out for him at TL. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I think Ole has a strong opinion, and when he doesn't respect a player, there's problems. I think Ole and Cody, where Ole did not respect Cody that much, and he disagreed a lot with how Cody wanted to play, and there was problems. But Ole with Double, even though Ole disagreed with Double, Ole respected Double so much and formed to what Double wanted. So it's going to be more so on how much respect is Froggen and Haunter going to buy from Ole, like due to their past history and how well they play in scrims, yeah, I think Ole can be flexible if he respects the players around him.
Reggie is spamming "clean up your place, Loco," and getting the entire chat to spam that as
Okay.
well. Thank you.
It's not my place. I'm visiting a friend for. I'm visiting a friend. It's not my place.
Thank you, Captain Elias, for the call.
Thank you.
He had one other one that I wouldn't mind talking about.
would you-
do
yeah,
you
'cause
care,
I-
Travis, or do you want to
Yeah,
move?
we'll just do it quick.
All right. So basically, it's Crown being overrated. I think he's more of a support mid laner than an actual outplay mid laner. I want to see him this year if he goes, since he's going to NA, being more of an outplay mid laner. And actually, I think he's better than pretty much 90% of the players in the mid lane in NA. So I want to see him.
Wait, so I thought you
No.
said he's overrated.
Yeah.
It starts with he's overrated, and then you say he's better than everybody.
I mean, he is overrated when it comes to an international stage, is my opinion. And
Okay.
then when it comes to NA, sorry, wildcard region,
We let this guy have a second take, and this is how
He
he's
wasn't
treating
that
us.
bad before. I don't know what happened to him. It's like,
people are still doubting. I'm not. I'm from Sweden, so I gotta.
I just
prove
don't
that
know
to
what to
them.
do with this take. You're like, he's overrated, but he's gonna stomp everyone. I'm like, okay, well, I don't.
Well, not. Like, I want him to be more of a not support player in the mid lane. Because if you look at his stats from the past Korean LCK splits, he's basically had like a minimum amount of solo kills in the mid lane. And I want him to be more of that kind of mid laner that does that when it comes to going to the NA. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with some of the stuff you're saying, but not necessarily for the right reasons. Like, I think Crown's really, really good. Definitely did not have a great last year. He had some good ones from previous years. So to me, it's a bit of a coin flip about how good he is. But Loco can tell me if I'm off about this. He feels like, from a culture fit perspective, probably one of the worst Koreans to come across the seas.
Yeah. I realize we're going to have a lot of overlap with Listen Loco, so I can actually give a more informed thought because I already said it once. Crown is someone that works extremely hard. That's someone very competitive, and he falls under the stress of sometimes his own effort and how good he wants to be. In NA, I'm not calling out everyone because there are definitely players that are different, but NA, I would say, it's more about balance than it is about absolute focus and absolute grind on League of Legends, where like we respect like balance in life, like seeing your friends, going to the gym, other things. Like Crown is not someone that's going to appreciate that balance as much. And
Yeah,
also, sorry, Mark.
No, I was going to like reiterate that. Like, I think mental well-being when you come across overseas is super, super important. And I just can't see Crown, this guy who played like 4,000 solo queue games last year or something like that, like last season, going to be happy with how NA approaches it. And I don't think like Optic is this like super well functioning organization. I think Samsung was probably a better org, or Gen.G at that point. So like, I think he won't really enjoy North America at all. And even if he doesn't have a down year like he kind of had last year, even if he is at like peak Crown, I don't think that his mental well-being will be good.
Yeah, and also there's this like joke about NA being a for fun region. I mean, our performances might be for fun, but the talent level definitely isn't, because we import and we have so much money and draw and power. Like, we get some of the top imports from Korea, some of the top imports from Europe in terms of mid lane. Like, our mid lane talent is not NA talent. It's like some of the best, or at least the top players in the world, coming to play in NA.
Yeah. I'm not super thrilled about the Crown thing. I think it's a random thing that Optic's doing. They somehow think that they can they've convinced themselves that they can get one star player in the mid lane and do something interesting out of there without having to spend in the other lanes, and I don't. I think it'll be interesting to see how things go, but I'm just not really. I'm not like, wow, how great. Thank you, Captain Elias, for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right. Let's move on to the next caller. Mark is off to grab some more people. Let's see, where were we? I said spaghetti about Simus 104, Yellow Hawkeye, Dr. Buttcheek. What? These names are getting worse. Prince of Jack, Hungster, Ibrafi 5, who also sent a spreadsheet link, who says this is maybe better. And then just now, Seb Park gifted 10 subs in the chat. Thank you, Seb Park. We're gonna get Seb Park on shortly. Maybe after this call.
After this caller?
Yeah, probably. After this call, we'll do a break and then we'll have Seb on. Dr. Manhattan is rejoining the show. Dr. Manhattan calls in frequently to the show. You are in DC.
That is correct.
Oh yes, I've often said Florida because I met you in Florida, but I remembered this time. Thank you for calling in, Dr. Manhattan. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
So my topic today is kind of a soft rant in a sense, where a lot of the news that came out with Cloud9, and I'm seeing a lot of the reactions that people had when it comes to Jensen leaving and with the signing of Niski. And I think that some of the reactions, some are fair, but I think a lot of them are relatively unreasonable in my.
Okay, so which ones do you think are unreasonable?
My main one that I have is simply due to the fact that I think a lot of people are saying, like, or at least people in the back of their head saying, oh, but he's a downgrade from Jensen, or that. But my response is, well, pull up a Venn diagram of mid laners who genuinely wanted to come to NA that were available that Cloud9 could have signed. Like, where is this mid laner that is better? Because I don't really see that many.
You're okay with the assumption that Niski is not as good as Jensen, but you feel like it was Cloud9's best option.
Yeah, I do believe it was the best option, and for people saying he's not as good as Jensen, that's fair. I do think that he has a lot of potential, and people are like really underselling him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Loco, Mark, what do you guys think?
Well, I understand where Cloud9 fans are mad. Jensen was about to be NA resident in a split, and I think he came off a good performance at Worlds. A lot of people will be the 3-0 Fnatic series, but other than that, Jensen played pretty decently at Worlds. He was definitely one of the more shining players. I agree with Niski being good. It's just reality of situations. Like, both the TL buying out Jensen and Cloud9 getting Niski were very on-brand moves. I don't think either I think fan bases were surprised, but if you sit down and think about it, it was a very steep move to buy out Jensen and a very Jack move to invest into a young talent that can potentially get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think also, for the most part, Jack, I didn't see too much criticism because I don't think I followed it super closely, so I don't know how scathing it was, but I think Jack should have bought enough goodwill from the community at this point with how well he's handled every turnaround that's kind of happened, where like losing Impact wasn't a big deal. High for Jensen was fine, or Jensen for High, was fine. They had Smoothie take over for Lemonation after like a little bit of a bunny experiment, and then ultimately it was Zeyzal taking over as well. Like, almost every single move he does works well. So I think, even if this isn't like the sexiest pickup and it's hard to say like Niski's better than Jensen, that doesn't mean it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like my piece right there, where it's like at this point, and I think that where listen, Loco, that you even said it, like, Loco, where it's like it's really hard for me to bet against Jack and Rebirth at this point, because every time we see this happen, like, it's just like he just proves us wrong even more and more. I mean, we saw this thing where like people were somewhat skeptical, or like had healthy skepticism with the Licorice pickup after Impact dropped, and like with the whole benching that we saw this past summer, it's really hard to really bet against these guys at this point. And Niski is comfortable in NA, like or comfortable enough considering he did a split on Envious where he had very promising results. And overall, I think that I can speak for almost all the Cloud9 fan base, and I hope that what I'm hearing is a minority, that I genuinely believe like this guy is the guy to replace Jensen, And I think that is it's funny that you say it's kind of a Steve move.
It is a very steep move.
Speaking of spending a lot of money, Reggie in chat just gifted 69 subs, which he had to beat Steve's 50 from last week, so he went with 69. Which is it's classy. I feel like that's very on brand for Reggie.
It not only beats Steve, but yeah, on brand.
Yeah. TSM chats are being spammed in my chat now. The Twitch chat has now just become a bunch of TSM spam. So
we're TSM show now.
That'll keep going for a while.
And you have me on.
I'm gonna say, Loco. What do you expect?
Yeah, thank you, Reggie, for the subs. We'll get to those in a second. I don't want to derail too much, but I don't know, Mark, if you were going to say something, or Loco, about what Dr. Manhattan said. Otherwise, I have a sort of thought on it.
Sorry, Dr. Manhattan. Or, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
My final thought on it is that, like, at some point, though, to be fair, like, the other foot is going to drop and Jack's going to fuck one of these up. But it does feel like whenever something's gone kind of wrong, he's reacted quickly with, like, the high substitutions at support and, like, Bunny and Smoothie tag teaming and stuff. So, like, maybe Niski isn't the right move, but even if it wasn't, I don't think you would see Niski for, like, a year and a half or something as the wrong, you know, like, as a problem.
Yeah, what I've been saying on stream recently, and I'm curious what you guys think about it, is the Niski thing makes a lot of sense to me because they have Golden Glue, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have Golden Glue. Like if you have Jensen around, I know that it wasn't their decision necessarily to have Jensen leave, but if you have Jensen around, you just kind of have Golden Glue hanging out in the background. And if Golden Glue is as good as sort of people started to think he was at the end of the split, you know, just keeping him on the bench all split without having, you know, with Jensen and the main slot, it doesn't make as much sense. But if you are able to, if you have Niski and Golden Glue, and you actually do have them compete for the spot, and both of them you think, okay, one of these guys is going to be really good this split, I'd give it like a 60 or 70% chance that one of them, you know, both of them have like a 60 or 70% chance of working out. You're kind of hedging your bets here, and you're allowing yourself, like, one of these is going to work. It's actually a pretty good move, I think, because you're allowing yourself a pretty good chance of having a pretty good mid laner.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good strategy.
Yep.
With Golden Glue in the pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, I'm glad everyone agrees with me.
You're so smart.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the C9 Niski stuff?
I'm just really psyched to see him play. I've been really hyped for him since his time on Fnatic Academy. I know he's in chat. By the way, you're welcome for the sub, Niski. And yeah, I'm excited for 20.
Very good. Well, hey, thank you, Dr. Manhattan, so much for the call. Really appreciate it.
A pleasure being on here as always.
Yeah. Okay, before we move on to the next caller, I do really want to thank Reggie for the 69 subs. That is incredible. It's one of the highest amount of subs I've ever had hit the channel in terms of gifted. And certainly he showed off. Steve can now feel emasculated. Anyway, let's talk about our sponsor for the show tonight. Quick little break here before we get Seb Park on. Seb, if you're watching, feel free to join the Discord call. Mark is about to show a computer. Hopefully no secret information. And that computer, by the way, is an Alienware computer, because despite the fact that he's getting another Alienware computer tomorrow...
I love them so much.
I don't know what
already have
Loco's
one.
doing. It looks like he's showing a competing sponsor in the thing.
I think he's getting a credit card out to buy an Alienware.
That might be true. So despite the fact that, oh, I need to pop this up on screen. I almost forgot. I've been a little out of practice. Despite the fact that Mark is getting an Alienware computer, he's actually had one for years. He was just talking about on last week's show how much he's enjoyed using them for all these years. So it's great match. He's really excited about it. He'll be getting that tomorrow. I have their new Slim and Light 15 behind me. And tomorrow, by the way, there's all this gear that I'm going to be unboxing on stream. We're going to be making a video out of it. They're doing a ton to support not just Hotline League, but everything I do. When I go to All Stars in actually just next week, I'll be sponsored by them. They're sponsoring everything I'm doing next year. It's incredible to see the support they've got. By the way, if you're watching live, I'm going to spam it in chat right now. But you can do me a favor by going over to Dell.com/Travis and checking out the stuff that they've got on, because they've got Cyber Monday deals going. And I appreciate it. By the way, thank you so much, Twitch chat, for being so polite about this stuff, because I know you guys, people have been tweeting them all weekend, saying how much they support. People have been saying, oh, I bought this monitor because of Travis. You tweeted them. That stuff really helps me out. So anyway, my whole point is, I just want to say thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring the show. They make some great stuff. Go check them out at Dell.com/Travis. Thanks for all the support. If you're enjoying this show, understand that it's made possible by them. And we'll be getting those gear upgrades going very shortly. So anyway,
Where's
thank
Seb
you
Park?
again to Alienware. Seb Park, is he in the Discord yet? Let's see. I'm gonna message him.
How did the Tidy Cats meme start?
Okay, so the Tidy Cats meme started.
I see him.
Voice call.
I'll go get Seb Park, and you explain Tidy Cats.
The Tidy Cats thing happened because on the show we were trying to make I came up with the idea of maybe Hotline League could get a mainstream brand into esports. And we were trying to figure out what brand. And then I remembered that for some reason, I have no idea. I don't have a cat. Tidy Cats has followed me on Twitter for years. They follow like 800 people, and one of them is me. I've never tweeted them. I don't have a cat. And so we attempted to try to get Tidy Cats. and then and we all spam them or whatever. They never reacted, and now anytime I have a sponsor, my fucking Twitch chat just goes crazy about Tidy Cats. It's very unproductive. I kind of regret doing it because it undermines some of the.
Do you think there's overlap
Similar
between
to-
cat owners and esport watchers?
Yes, I do. Mark has a cat, for instance, that I don't know if he'll be able to show on screen. It's somewhere around here. He's looking for it. No cat right now, but he could show you. another
Here he
time.
comes. Hey, Nyako, come here.
It heard you?
No, he just came running in the room because I think my girlfriend banged a pan and it scared him.
Okay. Wow, that's fortuitous timing. Well, the cat might
Yeah.
show up soon. Speaking of showing up soon, we got Seb Park, owner and operator. Well, not owner, operator. I don't know what your role is.
Definitely not to the owner, man.
Okay,
I
well-
don't have Reggie money or Jack money or Steve money. I just get
Someday.
paid to.
After
not
you
even
make it
close.
to finals, World Finals, and win for North America, they'll gift you the team as a thank you.
that would be a great gift.
Yeah.
Hey, just when the value of our company is the highest, let's give it away for free.
Let's get into the call. Seb, where are you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas, man. It's
Calling
a nice
in-
place out here.
Calling in from Texas. There's a cat. Scared. So multiple cats on the screen right now. So thank you for joining the show, Seb. Really appreciate it. And we can outline right now. What have you guys announced that you're able to talk about? I believe it is the departure of 3 players to Echo Fox and DeMonte joining the team.
Yeah, we also transferred Featherman to Misfits. That's
Yes, that's
something,
right.
Right,
And
that happened. Yeah, I mean it's just the process. It's been a long off season so far, but the process in terms of getting approvals to talk about things officially is, as you guys know, fraught with danger and
Very
and
cool.
all sorts
So
of
there are some
problems.
things that I'm sure you are looking for other players, but unable to talk about them yet because the paperwork is a little slow right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but we're pretty much done though. That's the good part. We pretty much wrapped up most of our process around the LCS side. The academy side is still going along. We're really happy with some of the guys we got,
Yeah.
and then we're just gonna fill it out and hopefully get everything ready for training camp to start in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Sebastian, I actually have a question. So,
Hey, what's up, man? Long time no talk, by the way. I haven't
Yeah,
seen you
long
since,
time no talk.
Scouting grounds last year.
holy shit, it's been a while. I'll stop by LCS, and I know some of the players you have, so I would more than love to stop by and support your team. So I've been doing a lot of detective work, and one of the core part of detective work for roster speculation is following who's following who on Twitter. Do owners or players or coaches troll? I'm sure they know about it. Do they troll follow sometimes? And also,
Yeah. So we had this problem last year where the Lyra Apollo Hakuo bit of our roster leaked too early. So I asked Daryl to just follow random people he was suggested to. Daryl Morey, our GM on the basketball side, he just started following random people on Twitter, which was amazing.
So there's just some misinformation going on from the team owners and team operators.
Yeah, I think at some point he followed Peter Zhang, for example, from TSM's academy head coach. Started following. I think he was following Froggen for a bit. Couple other guys up here and there. I'm sure you guys saw them come through. Medios, I think we followed Darshan.
He never followed me. Loco, did he ever follow you?
who? Daryl
Daryl Morey.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I believe he follows me. Let me take a look. Let me see. Maybe he might
Wait,
have
let me
unfollowed
see.
me.
Following.
I can't find it.
Follows Medios, Darshan. I don't see him following you, Travis.
Well, rip.
But part of your answer was that it is actually real because you were talking about how Hakuo, Apollo, and Lee are leaked because of the Twitter follows. So how much should fans put weight into Twitter following?
Oh, dude, they should put a ton of weight into it. You kidding? It's actually low key the most important thing to do. We got it mostly from Shakarez actually back when he ran most of our scouting. He was just look, these European guys, he told us, especially the EU LCS or the LEC, I suppose now, they can't help themselves but to follow their players that they're going to sign. And so the moment they start having a conversation, boom, they start following Broken Blade.
Yeah.
So you can just watch that all day. Pretty great actually.
Well, let's talk about the stuff you can talk about. So you let 80% of your starting lineup leave the team this offseason. Maybe you can sort of explain what happened there and why you guys made such a big move.
Yeah, that was sort of rough. I gotta be honest with you. I actually I like Solo, Apollo, and Hakuo, and Febby a lot. Febby was sort of a a different situation from everything else. We talked to Fabian and said, hey, we can either build around you in North America, but if you feel really bad and you want to go back to Europe, we could make that happen as well. And I think Loco and Mark both touched upon this with some of the Korean players, but it's also true for players from Europe and other regions. Like when you come to the States, it's a huge culture shock. And these guys are like 20, 21 years old. I mean, Loco, you did it yourself. Like it's just really hard to come out here and engage everything and be happy, right? And I think at the end of the day, like happy players perform better. And so especially when they came to Featherton, we were like, hey, do you want to stay in North America? Do you want to go back to Europe? He said his preference was to either play in Europe or play with more people out in North America. And with some of the uncertainties surrounding some of his friends out here and some of the things that we were thinking, when people reached out from Europe, it made it a no-brainer for us to reach out to them and give him a home with a team that he wants to play with.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Featherton, I think before even coming to NA, like he looked down on made comments on European mid laners coming to NA, and also in NA, I met him a few times in solo queue. I don't think everyone in NA really respects the solo queue, but Featherton went overboard, and yeah, he. I feel like it was win-win for both you guys and Febby.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think one thing I want to clarify specifically with him was that the poor guy needs to play more of his games on his his known accounts. I feel like every time he played on accounts that had his names attached to it, he would have a bad day. And then when he was playing on his other challenger accounts, he just like wouldn't do anything about it. And so it's sort of like the reverse of what you should do. You should be a dick, or no, you shouldn't be a dick. But if you're going to be a dick anywhere, be a dick on the accounts no one knows who you are, as opposed to the other way around.
So, by the way, you've announced 80% of the team leaving. Are there more departures from the main roster?
So no, at this point, we're going to roll back the roster. I mean, we're pretty close to being done. For the most part, like basically, so one way to think about the roster in general, and the way we've been thinking about this offseason, because we got started with tryouts probably. We had tryouts and we had in-house scrims starting probably the week after Gauntlet. So right after we got eliminated from Gauntlet, we started working towards next year. The thing that we were trying to figure out was we had heard rumblings about what TL was doing. And we were like, oh, crap. If TL is going to be that good, we're going to have to take on some like really high variance abilities and various things in order to get better. Because we thought with proper coaching and with some improvement to our roster, we thought we were a pretty solid playoff team with one or two changes. But, we just never saw ourselves winning the LCS. And that, to me, was a huge problem. And it's something that, like, our ownership really talks a lot about. Again, like, I just honestly do oftentimes do what they recommend and what they want, and they want to win, right? And so the question was, like, hey, how do we put together a roster that has the type of variance in order to beat up on teams like TL?
Okay.
And so that was sort of thinking behind it. And that's why we're definitely going to be bringing back Lyra. I'm not sure if that's a leak or an announcement, but we're really excited for him and what he can do next year.
Without like I guess confirming or unconfirming, some of the names that you guys had are like in the speculation are one of the old school Korean players, Piglet, Huni, and then Lyra you mentioned. If these players are the players playing for your team, like I don't think it's likely that you guys win LCS next year in 2019, and I also don't think it's likely that these players give you guys some kind of long-term stability or a future to build on. Just like how teams can't challenge Golden State Warriors at the moment. If you're not in a position where you can't challenge TL, isn't it better to invest into younger NA talent than try to immediately compete with the best team out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two parts to this, right? I think that's actually an interesting take because I completely agree with the idea of, hey, you should like being aware of where you're at is probably the most important thing in all of esports. Right, like if you're not in Dota, for example, if you're not a TI-bound team, there are a lot of other things you can work on to get better at it. Same thing with Counter-Strike. If you're not a major-bound team, it's sort of a rough place to be until you get to that point. The balance that we're looking for, though, isn't to just punt a year. I think that'd be awful to do. It is not at least in our organization's blood. We're not going to trust any process. We're not going to just punt everything. And on top of that, while other teams are like cutting costs around academy, that's not our thinking. Our thinking was, hey, we need to take variance not with the old school. That's actually not where our variance come from. Our variance doesn't come from Lero or any of the Korean players, but rather you can't roll back known NA quantities, right? And so one of the big reasons why we just announced Demonte and we're really high on Demonte is because he has a lot of variance. Demonte can emerge to be a top NA mid laner. He's had one split of experience, and we're really interested in him. We've received multiple requests to talk, buyout offers for our academy support player Vulcan. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a great example of a player where we drafted him in the academy scouting rounds last year. He's played for a year in academy. Had a couple of games on stage, just got his jitters out, and if he improves properly, it becomes a pretty good team. And then while we do that, we don't necessarily need to be starting the rookies, right? We have a couple of really keen guys in our academy team right now who we're going to be announcing over the next few days that we found way back when, and we're really excited for them because we think that they're going to develop over the next couple of years or maybe next year and make an NA showing this coming year. But it's similar to in how in the NFL, you see a lot of quarterbacks who are rookie quarterbacks start right away and get just raffle stomped, and they just completely lose their confidence and they can't play. So the idea, I think, of developing talent is sort of a two-part process where you don't want to crush anyone's confidence. You want them to develop and play up against academy and really utilize that system before they come up to the LCS.
Okay.
Mark, thoughts?
Loco kind of threw down the gauntlet there. I don't think I have a good follow-up after that.
I didn't think it was an unfair question. I thought
No, I think it's a super fair question, right? I think, honestly, it is the most fair question to ask in any roster, right? If you don't think, let's put it this way, right? If you don't think you're going to be able to win anything, 100%, you should go the way of some of these teams, cut costs, go, get a couple of guys who do well streaming-wise, and run Delta Fox back in the LCS. That is certainly a decent take on roster building in this mode if you want to do that. It's just not what we wanted to do, and it's not in our DNA. So we took the more the variance approach, I guess, right? It's just one of those things where I think we don't think binary. It's not we're going to win or we're going to lose. We just want to give ourselves a percentage chance, similar to I guess how the Rockets are run. It's the Warriors are great. But if you have a 5% or 10% chance, you take that over to 0%.
Yeah. Well, plus, come international competition like Worlds, a lot of your season can be forgiven if you do well.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. I've been thinking about that a lot recently because we talk about this internally, what our goals are. And Mark, you know this pretty well because I know you guys I know TL had the goal of making Worlds for a number of years. That's what Steve told me years ago, and I'm glad he was finally able to do it. But I've always been really curious. I feel it's sort of like how in European soccer or the EPL, your goal should be to win the EPL, and doing well at Champions League is the cherry on top. I feel like winning NALCS is super underrated by fans, and it's actually a really hard accomplishment. There's only been 3 or 4 teams that have done it ever.
Right. I agree with that. I guess what I'd say is your goal is always to win, but like you were saying, that's not necessarily going to happen all the time. And I don't think you should just look at it as I won NALCS or I didn't, because there are other avenues. We had a great year. I think that sucks for people to that's their takeaway. But having a good year that doesn't result in a championship is still a better year, a substantially better year than, like you said, punting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey Seb, a couple quick questions just about the off season. Before you leave, and I'm sure we'll have you on whenever you're able to talk more in the future about the rest of your roster. But do you think what has off season been like behind the scenes? Because we only see ESPN articles and rumors and all that stuff. But what's it been like for you, sort of running the gauntlet behind this? And do you think it's a crazier off season than the past? Steve said it was. I don't know. What's it been like?
Well, okay, first of all, Steve gets to lock in his roster day 1 of free agency. I'm not sure he's allowed to say that he had a crazy offseason. Dude got to chill with his roster.
Well, I think he was saying offseason overall was crazier, right?
I agree with that. I think a couple of things that happened that probably fans don't realize as much is that, especially in North America, it happens the week of Thanksgiving. A lot of us have, like, honestly, like, it sort of sucks. Our, like, video, our socials team, our, like, our front office staff, like, everyone around is just straight up working through Thanksgiving. Like, I've been in Houston. I haven't seen my family in a few weeks, right? Like, I think that's true for a lot of people. So that's, like, the first thing that I think adds on to the stress. But the second thing I think is that this year was a little bit crazy because of EU and the rising dollar amounts that the people in Europe are throwing around. It basically shifted a lot of people's plans, because I think a lot of people were looking at European options, and almost everyone struck out, from what I can tell, among the people who are looking at European options. And so you often see people coming back to, like, these Korean options as they're, like, probably lower on their tier list relative to some of the European options. And that's like not their complete fault, but as a result, like, free agency is still continuing. There are still teams, as we talk right now, that are still in free agency. And whereas, like, this time last year, I think almost every roster was completely done.
Do you so would you say that the EU franchising succeeded in helping to kind of guard EU against North American imperialism, as it were, when it comes to taking EU players?
Hey man, if that was the point of EU's franchising process, then 100%. Like, they got it really helped them a lot, actually, in retaining talent over there.
Yeah. Do you think that salaries overall in North America will go up this year after the offseason?
That's a really good question. I think there are a lot of macro questions that we should be asking ourselves. Like, I'm Travis, I talked to you about this. I'm so happy that you got the Alienware sponsorship. It's a really big deal. It locks you in for a good fiscal 2019. Because frankly, man, I think a lot of us are worried up and down esports, right? Because, I think some people on this call have been around for a while, but especially some of these new guys who haven't been in esports long enough don't remember some of the, like, financial downturns that happened in the previous iterations.
Yeah.
And so I'm personally really worried for a lot of people. I do think that people should lock in what they can right now. But yeah, I gotta say, like, that definitely worries me, because if there is a downturn, then I think it affects everyone's salaries, not just players, but, like, staff, coaches, you, me, Mark, even Loco.
Yeah, I mean, because
No way, dude.
I bring this up is because Optic was publicly talking about just sort of the expensive costs of running, and how they felt like they underestimated how expensive certain players were going to be and stuff in this offseason.
Yeah, I can't speak for Optic. I really don't understand that. We thought prices were right where we thought they'd be, which was about, like, 10 to 15%. There's probably going to be one of the things I do think I see happening, and I'd love to get Mark and Loco's take on this, is that it seems as though there is an elimination of the League of Legends middle class, right? I'm seeing a lot of salaries. There's, like, a lot of teams who are, like, signing guys like Froggen or some of these bigger stars for large dollar amounts. Mm-hmm. And then there are a lot of people signing guys at, like, near the minimum. And the guys who are, like, your middle class guys who are really serviceable and really good players are getting, like, pushed out of the market. I'm curious what you guys are seeing out there.
Well, because roster building works where your first player, right? The first player you sign is, like, the least likely to sign. And you have to spend a lot of money to get a big piece down, and that's where the teams are most willing. Okay, we'll start with, like, a Bjergsen signing. We'll start with, like, an Aphromoo signing. And then they throw down the big money. And then once you have a Bjergsen or an Aphromoo, you can go to your next players and be like, come play for our team. We have a Bjergsen, we have an Aphromoo, and their price goes down substantially. And then the people that are signing 4th or 5th, their options get very, very little. So, for example, I think someone like Flame was talking to a lot of teams, and he had a lot of options, but his options closed down really quickly. And with your options closing down, your salary also closes down really quickly. I think it's a little bit of timing thing also, more so than just middle class being gone.
With regards to how it is this year, I actually don't have any unique behind the scenes information. I haven't been talking to too many players recently about any deals they're signing, so I wouldn't know about a shrinking middle class, though it makes a fair amount of sense if that is happening.
I mean, given the document where we're seeing certain players who are, like, announced, like, Flame probably would exist in the middle class, and like Reignover, and I don't know, but possibly like Darshan, like, there are a lot of these players who we're hearing are just, like, not getting signed. Cody Sun as an example of that, who said he's not going to be starting an LCS this split. So I think it's an interesting point you made, and one that I hadn't really thought about, Seb.
Yeah, I mean it's super interesting because I think that one of the reported benefits, right, of one of the reported benefits of collective bargaining and the systems we have in the NBA or Major League Baseball is that it actually like increases the amount of it actually decreases the amount of money the stars make and increases the amount of money that everyone else makes. And that's sort of the trade-off. Like LeBron, if he was on a free market, would make like $100 million a year.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And so that money is now like distributed off to the players. And I think that's something that might be something worth doing because it's like actually, realistically, I don't have a horse in the race in that like I will operate with whatever rule set's given to me because that's my job. But it does seem interesting because I see a lot of these guys. I'm like, man, these guys are really good, and like some of these guys are going to have a shot. But there's a kid turning 17 or 16 or 18 or whatever the age limit is for whatever region every year, and they've been playing League of Legends since they were 7. They're mechanically amazing, and they've learned and the skill creep is happening, and it's just really hard, I think, for people to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Seb, thank you so much. Loco, go ahead for it.
Yeah, the old school players that are like middling and that are not on a superstar level are having harder time finding teams. Like from Jacob Wolf's report saying like Haunter had a hard time finding team. I know it was late in the offseason, but that tells you a lot. Like from Optics perspective, the fact that they would rather develop Dokla than spend money on Haunter in a way sounds crazy, but also makes sense. So I definitely get what you mean regarding the middle class disappearing.
Yeah, and one last thing for Travis, because you guys are all doing a good job out here. I think the craziest thing about this offseason is just how early it starts for teams that don't make worlds and like how late it ends for people who don't sign players immediately.
Yeah.
I think I didn't realize it personally. I mean, I think Mark, you probably have the experience with this. But like it's crazy just how early offseason starts, right? We started literally 4 days after Gauntlet ended, which sucked that Gauntlet ends, but like just there's no time. You just got get on the horse right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we the funniest thing was the year that we got Piglet. We did Keith This is such a funny story actually. The year that we got Piglet, we also ended up getting Keith as a sub, but way before we knew we were getting Piglet because, the World Championships were going on and Koreans. I don't think the Korean finals had happened yet, so I don't think SKT knew they weren't making it. Either way, we did a tryout with Keith McBrief because we were evaluating the AD carry position, and we were like, what the fuck are we doing scrimming with Keith McBrief in like August when the next year starts in 5 months? Like, what are we doing? And then it turned out we actually signed him as a backup sub when Piglet's visas got held up a little bit, and we played a lot of games with him, and it was actually fantastic. But at the time, it was like, holy shit, I can't believe we're already scrimming tryouts with Keith McBrief.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's man. Keith used to stomp pubs all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, Seb, for calling in. Hopefully, we can have you back whenever some more of the paperwork is cleared. But appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, man. Yeah, give me a few days. We'll have announcements coming through the pipeline.
Very good. Hey, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Peace.
See ya.
All right, we now can move on. We got a little bit over 45 minutes here. We got a lot of callers to go. So, Mark, if you want to run off.
Yeah, I'll tell all the callers too that we gotta skip right along.
Yeah. So no like three minute long opening arguments.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Shouting out some names. We got Rappel. Thank you for 3 months. Vandergrant 2 months. Timixer. Disregard with the Twitch Prime. Rappel for 6. Rappel gives us up to XX Hayes, who is experiencing 6 months. Thank you. Harry Houdini 2 months. RNL003 2 months. Seb, who gifted 10. Mr. Chips, thank you for the Prime. Stahil gifted 1 to DeMonte. And Strive is here. Strive, welcome to the show.
What's up?
What's up? Where are you calling from? You've been on the show before, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm calling from Fort Myers, Florida. And the last time I called, Parth roasted the guy in front of me, so I was all nervous to give my
All right. Well, we got Loco here, so hopefully you don't get any flame.
I'm nice.
What do you want to talk on the show about on the show tonight, Strive?
I want to defend my boy TSM Greg, and I think he's gonna have an outstanding season if he does get signed. And I think TSM should keep Greg on the roster because as of right now, there's not really an available resident jungler that would be an upgrade compared to someone who's played with both the carry lanes for an entire split. and he's just a very vocal guy. Knows the game a lot. Number one on the ladder, and I think Grig's actually the way to go for TSM. As
All
much
right.
as the subreddit would disagree.
All right. Well, I'm excited because we later on have a caller who says that keeping Greg is a bad move. So maybe we can grab Embers next, Mark. But
I didn't know.
no, it's okay. I pulled him because we need some people from the sub chat. But Strive. So Strive says that Greg is great. The Twitch chat is spamming hang up. A couple people with the yes emotes. Loco and Mark, what do you think about TSM keeping Greg?
Are you gonna
So-
make him write an essay? Just say yes or no to that, Loco.
Well, I agree with Greg staying, but there has to be context for everything. So I think we should talk a little bit about the context.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in off season, like off season is world of dreams for a lot of teams. It's where teams that lost can upgrade in crucial positions. It's where teams that won can even become super teams and get more players that are even better, like TL did. So everyone wants like their team to have like a dream off season, and the expectations get crazy high. I think TSM killed it with the 4 positions they signed, and for jungle they have to be realistic. Like the reality is they need a NA jungler, and FlyQuest is not going to give up Centauran. CLG is not going to give up Wiggly. So the options they have left are Meteos, Grig, Acadian, and I know there's a lot of talks about Dardoch from Echo Fox. That is something that's potentially possible, but it's not something likely. So between the 3, I think Meteos isn't going to be a great fit. So it really comes down to Grig and Acadian. And last year's Grig performance, I think, had a lot to do with how much Hunter was struggling and how much bot lane was struggling early game. So he has 2 lanes that are constantly getting pushed in. And also, whenever mid-D is on a team, mid-D that team will play mid-D style of League of Legends. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. But that team is going to play how mid-D wants to play in a certain manner. So taking mid-D away from the team, it opens up Grig to do more and have more of a voice. And also with Smoothie, I think bot lane is going to be winning a lot more. And with Broken Blade, bot lane is going to be winning a lot more too. So with all the context, I do think Grig is actually completely fine going into next split. I would love to see them pick up Dardoch as a sub or maybe Acadian as a sub and run 6-man rosters. But I don't disagree with you at all.
I think from a domestic perspective, I agree with most of what you're saying. Like, they had a really rough year last year. They did swap Mike Young for Grig, and the team improved, but not enough to like fix all the other problems that they had. And if Smoothie works out, and if Broken Blade works out, then this will be like Grig's kind of fair shot at like saying he deserves this. But I can understand where some fans are coming from. We're like, okay, but looking at the international stage, are we confident with Grig? And I think there's still a lot of question marks around him. So I can understand why people wanted another more proven upgrade in some ways, because I think TSM fans always set their expectations really high. It's not just doing well domestically, it's about international, and there's still a lot of question marks there. So I can see why people want more, but I do agree with Loco that like there were so many other problems on TSM last year that he should get a chance with this roster without it having other dysfunctional parts.
TSM needs to curb their expectation as a team and as a fan base. I love TSM, and TSM is still the team I support the most, but TSM fucked up hella in 2018, and instead of trying to be the top dog again, like start from scratch and make achievable goals. Let's do well in spring regular season, and then let's do well in spring playoffs, and let's like do it step by step. Like you don't need to look at winning worlds or doing well internationally right now. You need to start doing well in international. You need to start doing well in NA first. You need to start toppling TL first before like you make claims of international success. And I think doing things step by step is going to give TSM a better result. I don't mean TSM can't make worlds. I don't mean they shouldn't have dreams about worlds, but they need to look a little bit closer right now before looking so far ahead.
Loco, if TSM could get Acadian or
Well, hang on,
Dardoch.
let's save that for the next caller.
Okay.
Embers, because he or she was talking about how there weren't that many other options.
Okay.
Strive, any final thoughts on the way out?
I was just gonna say that there's a few episodes of TSM Legends where they would go back, and there's obviously very limited, but I like that Grig would speak up against Bjergsen, would speak up against Ben in certain situations where he thought he was right, and you never really see that from TSM junglers in the past. They're usually just all quiet.
Yeah.
And Grig just gave his opinion, and I really like that about him. I think it's gonna work out better when he has a stronger team.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Strive.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. All right. Off to grab Embers right now is where Mark's going. Thank you to Toodaloo or Toodalal, Granddaddy25, TSM Reginald for gifting 69 subs. Again, thank you, Reginald. Savior Seth, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Anonymous gifted a sub to Wardism. Somebody gifted anonymously. Defaint Smile. Vandy's Grants, who gifted a sub to Acadian. I don't know if Acadian's on the Twitch chat, but that might make this interesting. And we are joined right now by Embers, who has a different take on the situation. Hopefully they unmute their mic. But Embers, where are you calling from? Embers.
It was working a second ago. I swear to God.
North Jersey.
Oh,
Hello.
hi.
Hello. I think TSM Grid is a bad move, but at the same time, TSM doesn't have a better option.
Where are you
Because-
calling from?
North Jersey.
North Jersey. Okay. So you think they don't have a better option?
Yeah, but the thing is it's going to stick TSM in the same middling position as they are this year.
Why do you think it's a bad move?
Because yesterday, Loco had Weldon come in on his stream, and Weldon mentioned that Grig was overtaken by Mithy's voice while in game, and we saw that C9 replaced Smoothie because he was doing a similar thing.
So, Mitty is a European legend. He won EULCS multiple times, probably one of the most well-respected player in Europe. Where Smoothie is a little bit younger and a little bit moldable. I personally work with Smoothie. Smoothie had very strong opinions when I told him why. I told him to believe me and you should change things in this way. Smoothie was actually able to change and actually able to listen. I think C9 replaced Smoothie with Zazel because there was an immediate switch they could make where it would help them and Zazel would be more flexible. I think Smoothie on a team with a great coaching staff like Tony and Parse and Lustboy, Smoothie will listen to the coaching staff, allow Grig to have a voice, and I don't think Smoothie is going to drown out Grig in terms of him having his actual voice. As the previous caller said, Grig is someone that does speak up, and I think Smoothie will not have the same kind of imposing effect that Mitty has had on Grig.
I see where you're coming from, though, Embers, where, I think anytime you change up a lot of a roster, there's concerns about how the voices work together. So I still see that part a little bit. And this is where I was going with Loco, was even if you keep Grig as somewhat of the control, like you heard Seb kind of talking about with variability, would you be interested in grabbing this Meteos that I think a lot of people think is not a good culture fit, but at least seeing if that's true, or Dardoch, or one of these other options in Acadian or something, and having two junglers and seeing which one ends up working better?
I think two junglers would probably be the best option because with Dardoch and Meteos and those two especially, it seems like there's an issue because Meteos has mentioned TSM isn't how he wants to play and he'd probably never go there. And we saw Dardoch left CLG when he was working with Ziggs before and stuff, but having Grig under a more veteran person would probably work better. But that's overall one of the problems that it has because by picking up Broken Blade, they're stuck to native junglers where most of the really good ones were sucked up quickly to make strong NA cores.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want, Loco? Would you want to pick up another jungler or just bet on Grig?
I think Dardoch is the only jungler with high enough upside where I would want a secondary jungler. I think Acadian Grig, while likely isn't that great, Acadian's ceiling isn't as anywhere near high as Dardoch, and I think if it's going to be Acadian, I would be perfectly fine with just Grig. But yeah, either just Grig or Grig Dardoch.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did you guys say that? Or Loco, you said that you felt like Dardoch wasn't going to happen. He's just not an option. Why not start him?
Well, I mean, why I said it's not going to happen is Lena said, no, we're not looking at Dardoch, or no, Dardoch confirmed is untrue. I forget the exact where she said no, but Lena has never trolled TSM subreddit. Whenever Lena says something on TSM subreddit, it's been just the truth, and it's been to make sure TSM subreddit doesn't go crazy theorizing about something. She shut down.
Sure. Why do you think it is? I'm kind of curious. Do you have any speculation or guesses as to why they are just not interested in having him start?
well, previously Dardoch used to work with Tony on CLG, and they ended up using Omar God over Dardoch. So
you just think
I'm not
it's
sure
that.
if
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Tony personally clashed with Dardoch, but Tony definitely has a voice on CLG, so he did make some of the choice. And also, TSM values in some ways like being in line and putting the team first, and Dardoch has been a very um, chaotic factor.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can say TSM has had large personalities over their careers, like I think it would be hard to outright call some of them as like over the top in the arguments as we've seen Dardoch can get. Like I've heard Bjergsen can be super argumentative as well, but I don't think it's really the same thing that you're talking about.
Hey, thank you so
I
much.
think they want to avoid that stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Embers. We don't have too much time, but any final thoughts here?
No, I basically said my point.
Okay. Thank you for your call. Have a good one. Okay. Mark is off to grab the next person. All right. Admiral Long Dong Silver, thank you for the 2 months. My F, thank you for the tier 1. Hoder Tin, thank you for the 4 months. Smallung, 2 months. Dirty Purrier, Shelf Owl, Slicky McDougal's for 4. Andy C89, and Josette. We're joined right now by 2324. Is that how it's supposed to be said?
Yeah.
2,324.
It's whatever.
2324.
I'm sorry.
Where are you calling from?
Texas.
Okay. And do you have, is that Zuko in your profile?
That is not Zuko.
Okay. Well, I can't, there's a lot of anime characters. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think Piglet is not washed up. I think he's actually going to be one of the best AD carries.
He's going to be one of the best 80 carries. Okay. Where would you rank him? Top 3, top 2, top 4, top 5?
Like, top 3.
Top 3.
Because you got double lift, you got bang. Like, yeah.
Okay. You don't put Sneaky or Sven up there?
I mean, Sven last year wasn't that great.
Okay.
Even though he was ranked pretty highly.
Okay. And Sneaky?
And, fuck.
What?
Sneaky and Lane?
Okay, you're just...
Okay. Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He beat up Kramer in Tucson.
Yeah.
I didn't see Piglet do that.
Just hang up on me, please.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I think
Never.
I think you actually bring up a really fair point, and because me and Mark both work with Piglet, I hope he can shine hopefully some accurate light on this.
Yeah.
I think there is a chance that Piglet is actually the third best AD, like 2324 mentioned, and I think there's also a chance that Piglet isn't. One thing Piglet is he's very dominant in lane, and he knows the matchups very well, and he plays aggressive, and he's an on-stage player. But the problem is, one thing Piglet is not is flexible. Regardless of the lane being about maybe utility ADs, about ADs sacrificing and playing more towards top side, or ADs not getting jungle help, or whatever it might be, Piglet is someone that will not be flexible, and that's been very set on his mindset and how he thinks the game should be played since Mark started coaching it, since I coached him, and since still to this day. So I think if the meta is in line for what Piglet wants, I think Piglet will be a great AD carry. But if the meta isn't in line, then Piglet is going to struggle to adapt and is going to struggle to being played towards.
Yeah, so Loco, you assume Huni based off the fact that it was reported by Jacob Wolf, right?
All Jacob Wolf is 99% truth.
Yeah, so let's say Huni and Piglet are together. I think that's a pretty terrible team with like resource allocation in game because both those players love being played around and expect it. So that's like a problem I see happening with that roster. But with Piglet in particular, I've never doubted his like skill. I think he's incredible even now, like in terms of his actual mechanics and like Loco said, lane dominance. The problem is like he only plays the game in a lane dominant way. Like I've almost never seen Piglet do what Reckless will do or Sven, where they're like, the game's not about me right now. I'm gonna wait for something else to happen. Like that's not how he approaches the game. And so like, if you like when you take Piglet on your team, you basically have to be all-inning on Piglet, I think. And I don't know if he's that player anymore. I still think he has the mechanics, but like kind of similar to what we were saying with Froggen, like it's not the mechanics that are holding him back at this point.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you guys, why do you think it is that we haven't seen Piglet in the NALCS in a while?
Well, So last year, Piglet was talking about I had a chance to go to a Korean team. I was led on. I thought I would be on a Korean team, and I didn't get on a Korean team, and this one person ruined my career. So he was trying to go to a Korean team, and it seemed like something happened last minute where he didn't land a Korean team. So he didn't get a fair shot at looking at NALCS. And also, Piglet last year on TL was not the. It didn't buy him a lot of confidence.
I think
compared to other ADs.
Yeah, I think with how import rules are, the last year would be hard to justify, even if he didn't have these kind of problems with getting screwed over. Like, I think a lot of teams might have taken a pass on him in an import slot, but since he cooked for a year in academy and he doesn't take up an import slot anymore, I actually think that makes him pretty attractive to take at least a pass on. Like, I would definitely give Piglet, if I was a team that didn't have other firepower from other like stuff, I would definitely take a attempt on Piglet. And I think that's what Seb was kind of hinting at, though he couldn't confirm it, about the variability of this team. Like, we're saying Huni and Piglet won't work together because they both want resources. But if somehow they do, and they both play well, like, holy shit, this could be a scary lineup.
I just don't see it happening because in the history of Piglet, in the history of Huni, they haven't done that. Actually, Huni has done that briefly when he was on SKT, but on Echo Fox, I think he relapsed even harder.
Yeah.
And they're both coming off like a down year. I think these two players are actually not going to be less cocky, but they're going to be more cocky off of what happened last year. I think both their mindset is, my teammates are shit. I didn't get enough of a chance. Like, this year, I'm going to do things my way. I feel like both players will have that kind of mindset.
Yeah. And so, like, I can understand why a team this year might have taken another pass at Piglet instead of last year, but it's still, this is a interesting roster.
What are the chances that 2324 is going to be correct and that Piglet will be a top 3 NA ADC next year?
If the meta is good for it, and if Huni somehow learns to play tanks, then it is a possibility. What he's saying isn't likely, but it is definitely possible.
Yeah, I'd say like it's a 90% chance that this whole roster sucks. So like no matter how good these players actually are individually, like the playstyle just doesn't work. And in the 10% where they make the playstyle work, a lot of these players look really good.
Kelby's in the chat. Can't be on the show, but he can be in the chat. 2324, any final thoughts? I know you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just a little nervous, First time on.
You're doing great, and I really appreciate the call because it was something I hadn't really thought to bring up. But any final thoughts?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Blazing Legend EX, and I'm done. Bye.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he left. Normally I have to move them. He left on his own. I love that guy. He's one of my favorite callers we've ever had.
He comes up with a topic, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We talk about it. He says thank you and goodbye.
Yeah. And suggests that we hang up on him. I've never had a caller suggest that
I think he read Twitch chat. Twitch chat was going hard on him.
Yeah,
for that
that's
take.
true. That guy's amazing.
I think for people coming on, like, it is like really nervous, like, because we get criticized day to day, and we're public figures that's used to the criticism. For like other people, like coming on, like getting criticized by like 5,000 people, like hang up. Oh, this guy sounds like an idiot. Like, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I don't mind the hang. This is what I will say while we're on it. I don't mind the hang up spam because that emote is there for people who have like hot takes or want to say something like Piglet's going to be top 3. I think that's fun. When people try to make like personal attacks, like, oh, this guy sounds like an idiot, or that's when I want the mods to go in, or whenever people are taking personal attacks on people. But the hang up stuff is kind of fun. Let's move on because I know we've got a lot to go through in the next half an hour. So, do you want to shout out to NDC89, Josetti, Kyle0808, who returned. He said he was going to be gone, gifted a sub. TSM Reginald, who gifted 5 subs after chat spam TSM, and then gifted another 5 after that happened. So he's really excited about the TSM spam. Robotic 320 with the Twitch Prime. Kyle0808, who gifted another 5. And then for the win, 2G.
We have Max Mofo on the show.
Massive Legend is here. He has a different name for me. Different name for you, Mark?
Do you not know who Massive Legend / Max Mofo is?
I don't.
Well, that just shows how disconnected you are from the YouTube community.
That's fair. Max Mofo. I apologize. What is your YouTube account?
YouTube.com/MaxMoth.
Okay. Well, I apologize for being disconnected.
He only has like, I don't know, what do you have, 5 million subs now?
No, like 2 mil, mate. Don't worry about it.
2 million, mate. Okay.
Jesus.
Well, let's collab because I love your stuff, and I think that a collab between your channel and mine would be incredible. What do you want to talk
I
about on the
know,
show?
mate.
And do you use this microphone whenever you make YouTube videos?
No. Not this microphone. I want to talk about Lost, who played for Echo Fox in the summer split, and tie that into the idea of should fans be loyal to players or to teams?
So what your first one was who about Lost?
What do we think of Lost? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you think of Lost? We want to hear your thoughts.
Well, watching him play in the OPL, I thought it was pretty good, and I was really excited for him when he came over to North America. And then his debut game was against FlyQuest, I think. He performed really well, but then he's been kind of on and off, and Echo Fox as a team hasn't been playing very well. So I just really want to see him perform, and hopefully on an LCS team, because I think Optic's the only thing left.
I think I liked Lost. I thought he was pretty good, and I liked what I heard from his attitude and stuff. I just think it's really hard in North America to justify him the same way I was saying with Piglet in the previous caller. Like, if you're taking up an import slot, you need to be like one of the team's focal points, and I don't think he's quite good enough to get an import slot usage.
Loco?
It's actually being harder and harder to play in NA because we're getting more and more money and we're getting to sign higher and higher like level talent import wise. So also there's being so many people naturalized. Like there's like 4 mids that are naturalized right now, like Huhi, Phoenix in the future, Bjergsen, Jensen's gonna be naturalized, Keen is naturalized. Like it's really, really hard to play in NA. And it's going to be even harder in a year, and it's going to be harder in 2 years. So I thought Lost was someone that has potential and that can develop. But for you to be an import and for you to develop and be on a team, you have to be like someone like Broken Blade level. So I don't think Lost has a future in NA.
Even though he's got that connection with Dokla, who played in the OPL as well.
For Optic?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dokla isn't an import slot. He played in the OPL, but he was imported into the OPL, not declared an
Yeah, I'm
OPL
just
resident.
saying, you know, they've got like a friendship maybe type thing going.
Yeah, but
Put in a good
Synergy,
word.
he's saying, I think, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. I think maybe I'm not saying like there's a 0% chance Lost ends up on a team this year. I just think to Loco's point, like the likelihood he stays like in North America for his career is pretty low.
So Optic wants to be flexible. Optic, what they want to do is have pieces that can grow and be flexible. Lost isn't a very flexible piece because he is an import. Where for rest of Optic, right, Dokla and Big, if they grow and they become better, those are flexible pieces that Optic can build around. But for Lost, even if Lost gets better, right, if they're struggling in jungle and mid, they're going to need to import on that slot. And generally, NA has not imported AD carries as heavily.
Yeah.
Especially like with Cody floating around, like I don't know why Cody isn't an option for Optic, because you know Cody tweeted that he's probably not going to get on an LCS team, which makes me think they've already have an option. But if that's the case, then I'm Optic. I'm like, go play on Academy for me then, or like something like that. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on someone like Lost if he's the starter or something. And then like Loco's saying, eventually you might find other options you prefer.
Mark, we lost your webcam.
That's fine.
Well, can you, if you can fix? Thank you. So first off, is that fair, Massive Legend?
Yeah, I reckon that's fair. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Oh, can I ask you a question, Massive Legend? Do you know any of the upcoming NAADs in NA? Like, you know, like Ricard, Cody. Do you know anyone below that level? Like maybe like Prismal?
Or like, Prismal. What's the other one?
Starts with an F.
Stranger.
I can't remember. Right? Am I thinking the right
Also,
guy?
there's like people like Jurassic, right? So like these players,
The GGS, right? Yeah.
yeah, these players, they're not like that far off from Lost, right? And if these players end up being like star level or even functionally good NA ADC level, they're much better best than they are compared to Lost.
All right. And then for the fan team loyalty, I just like to touch on real quick, the whole Echo Fox debacle. You know, I stuck through like as a fan to the team during all that, but now with them bringing on like Apollo, Hakuho, well, apparently, I'm kind of as a fan, I'm like, I I don't really like these players, not really invested in them. Should I follow the players I like, or should I stick to the team?
This is a question that comes up frequently on the show, and you should always do where your heart takes you, in my mind. Like, it is on the teams to build a brand and to do something that can persist past the players leaving. If a team fails to do something and make a compelling argument for why you should be a fan of the team, then they are not doing themselves any favors. So I think you should go, like, if you don't care about the org after the players are gone, then why root for that org?
Yeah.
I mean, for esports, right? Even orgs change identity a lot. Like CLG as an org changed their identity so much. Like you don't need to torture yourself into being a fan of a certain team, nor should you torture yourself into being a fan of a certain player. Like you should do what makes you happy. You should do what makes you enjoyable. Like genuinely, if you like supporting a winning team, be a bandwagon fan and support teams that win. If that's what makes you happy and that's what keeps you watching League of Legends, do that. If you really love Doublelift and you want to follow Doublelift from CLG to TSM to Team Liquid, follow Doublelift. You should do what makes you happy. Like you don't need, like, there isn't a morality to you need to be a fan of this team for this way. It's something people say to be superior. I've been a TSM fan since 2012. Like you guys are all bandwagon. Like I promise you, everyone on TSM appreciates any kind of fan. Like be a fan of what you want to be a fan of.
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree, because unlike traditional sports where you can maybe make the argument a little bit more, like you're not born into one of these teams to follow. Like I grew up in Boston, I have to like these teams for the most part, and then maybe you have like a second team that you root for that's not quite your main team. In the esports world, like just pick whoever you want. It really doesn't matter if you like that the Clutch Gaming likes to use analytics and talk about that kind of stuff and whatever else they use, like great, whatever. If you do end up being a fan of an org, then you're a fan of the org and you don't owe them anything. And you know, if they lose your fandom, then you know that's fine.
Yeah. Hey, Massive Legend, thank you so much for the call. Sorry, I was not familiar with your work before, but I am now, and I love to work with you.
So good, man. All right, see you guys.
Have a good one. He's never going to work with me. All right.
Also, I'm like 99% sure that's not actually Max Mofo. That was just an Australian guy who probably likes Max Mofo.
Okay. Well, we'll never know unless his Twitter account or unless his YouTube account makes a comment on one of my videos and promotes it.
The closest thing I've seen from those two worlds colliding is iDubbbz follows Disguised Toast, and one point YouTube banned Disguised Toast's second channel because it was impersonating Disguised Toast.
Yeah, I do like that.
And iDubbbz tweeted and was like, "What the fuck is this shit, YouTube?"
Wait, there is even a stronger connection for iDubbbz.
Oh yeah, his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, iDubbbz's girlfriend used to date a League of Legends player, so there is a connection through that also.
Yeah.
Robotic 320, thank you for the Twitch Prime. For the win, 2G, thank you for the Prime. Coco Sanchez, 9 months. 9 months. Could have had a baby. Raymond up 4, thank you for the 2 months. By the way, Broden and I, really quickly, I'll just say this. Broden and I are going to do a video later on in December. We're going to be opening a bunch of stuff that you guys send us. We're also going to be doing a giveaway for Alienware stuff. If you want to send us anything that will be featured in the video, it can be a troll gift, it can be whatever. ! PO box in the chat, and I will try to remember to put the PO box address into the description. I'm Chippy is here. I'm Chippy. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tempe, Arizona.
Tempe, Arizona. Okay, so not too far away from us. How is Tempe, Arizona?
Pretty cold, actually. Usually hot, but pretty cold now, which is nice.
Well, what do you want to talk about on the show?
I wanted to talk about CLG's roster and their last player they need to pick up, which is their top laner, assuming that that Wiggly or Reignover stay. And their top lane options are getting really low. They have Flame, and then they can import an EU or Korean, which I don't assume they're going to import any Koreans. So EU, they got Odo and Vizicachi, and then they can keep Darshan too. And basically wanted to say, like, when they pick their top laner, I feel like they need to pick somebody that's going to be a big vocal point on their team, because it feels like the rest of their team is very quiet and gets kind of led.
Is there anyone you would like to see picked up specifically?
I think Flame's the most optimal choice, and like Loco mentioned before, about developing talent and stuff, but I don't feel like there's anyone that's worth picking up if they're going to be developing Wiggly this split. So I feel like they need a solid player in the top lane if they're going to go with Wiggly.
I think just to chime in here before we get into the top lane discussion, I don't think I agree about the lack of a voice on this team. I think Biofrost stepped up and tried to lead the team at different points more so, and I think he did, from what it sounds like, a decent job. And Wiggly, from everything I've heard about him, he's actually a very vocal player about what he wants done, and a little bit of a rager, like, you know, the way a lot of vocal players tend to be. But I think he will have an early game plan that he wants to do. And PoE is a decent laner. I think their bot lane's decent. If they get a decent top laner, I actually think, you know, this team doesn't look too bad. And I do understand there's a little bit of concern about the synergy and how it all works, but I don't think there's going to be a lack of opinions or direction on this team about ways to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mark actually completely, and I also, in a sense, agree with Chippy, because in 2018, they didn't have a voice since Biofrost was developing and their jungler was Reignover. But in 2019, as Mark said, Biofrost developed into more of a shot caller, and Wiggly is definitely going to be a vocal part. I actually agree with you that Flame is probably their best pickup and their most likely pickup, and I do want to see them upgrade from Darshan. They're in a position where they are probably a piece or two away from competing for third, and it's super important to compete for third and go to Worlds. Like, if you're in a position where you're competing for fourth and fifth, it's not that important to upgrade, and it's better to develop. But CLG overall, like, by getting Power People and by their bot lane developing and by having a jungler that they can move up and be competitive, like, they are in close contention for third. So I do think it is important for them to upgrade, and I would love to see them pick up Flame.
Would you, Loco, have any concerns about Flame? Like, unless I don't know if Flame's English has improved, but for a while it wasn't great. Like, the rest of this team doesn't really have any Korean infrastructure. They have no Korean coaches. They have no other Korean players. Would you at all be concerned about Flame's integration then?
Okay, a little bit of a leak. So the potential coach that CLG might pick up for strategy is Korean. So they might get a Korean coach. And that's gonna help. It's not me for people that are.
It's not LS.
Yeah,
Everyone's been spamming LS in my streams, always saying LS, CLG LS.
LS speaks Korean, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, but Loco said he is Korean, and I don't think LS is Korean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
So, anyways, also it's not just about speaking Korean; it's about knowing
like the
Korean
culture. Yeah.
It's very different. Like, and Koreans tend to gravitate Koreans. Like, here, I'll give you an example. If you go to UCLA or UC Berkeley, almost all the Koreans hang out with other Koreans. Like, all my high school Korean friends that went to UCLA had their own Korean group, and they mostly hung out with Koreans. Koreans are very nationalistic, and they like sticking and staying with other Koreans. So, yeah, I mean, you know, like, someone said this a long time ago. Whenever you bring a Korean player to NA, make sure you bring another Korean player, or you have a Korean coach. It's like a puppy thing. Remember, if you get one puppy, the puppy is lonely. But if you get two puppies, the puppies play with each other and they get along and they flourish better. Like, someone said this, and I do think it is so true. Like, Koreans function much better when there are multiple Koreans.
I don't think it's just a Korean thing. I think that's just like a human nature thing. Like, if you're alone and people don't really get you, it kind of sucks. On that point, that's why I would prefer some of those European options, but I think those are much more unlikely to happen.
A couple things here. One is, I thought Koreans love Weldon.
What?
That's a joke. Secondly, because he pissed off all of Korea. Secondly, is Flame still an option, you think? Because he did tweet that he was like, even if I have to leave NA or something. It made it sound like he was not sticking around, and a lot of people feel like he's out.
He never said he wasn't staying, though.
All right. As someone that talks to Flame on a daily basis, he is still an option, and he's going to make a decision.
The other thing I'll add, just because I feel like we've kind of overlooked it a little bit, is like Flame has lived in North America for a long time, so he's not quite the like fresh import who's gonna get completely culture shocked by North America. But I still think you're gonna need someone to help.
I would love to see Flame on CLG. I think he's also a really good brand fit for that team. I think he'd play really well towards like the CLG brand, which I tend to think of as the good old boys, the good guys kind of deal. Did somebody snort? Chippy, did
No.
you snort?
That was not me. That was Mark.
Dude, no. Who it's no? Shut the fuck up.
I actually want
snorting
to write on that brand thing because that was actually a little bit more of what I want to say, and it was basically saying, assuming that leak, that I guess quote unquote leak that Loco just talked about, do you think they keep Darshan in any way just for like the point of having him as the brand of CLG since he is the oldest player?
My leak is Darshan might stay, Darshan might not stay, and I don't think that's really a leak. Like, I mean, everyone knows, like, CLG reached out to Odo Omne, that was Jacob Wolf confirmed. The fact that they are reaching out to Odo Omne means they are living in a world where they are okay with losing Darshan, right? And I think CLG's brand, finally, it died a little when they lost Double Lift. It died a little bit more with Pobelter, with Afro, with Tony,
Smithy.
with Huhi, with Xmithy. Like, Darshan is that last phase, but people talk so much about like how dead that CLG brand is. Like CLG.
Yeah, and I didn't agree with Travis on that.
Yeah, like
I'm
Darshan
sorry, wait,
is
what? I didn't say CLG's brand was dead.
No, you were saying that their brand is the good old boys, and I was saying I agree with Loco that I think that brand, if I understand Loco correctly, that brand is kind of dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think keeping Darshan keeps that brand alive, and I don't think losing Darshan kills that brand. Like,
I would say Dardoch, for instance, if they went with Dardoch, would be off-brand for CLG.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely like somewhat of a culture org that is not like let's just sign the best players at every position. Like they definitely believe in culture fit.
And
Yeah.
But that's not like a brand necessarily. It's not like G2 branded themselves kind of like the evil empire, the villain type thing. Like this is it's not a brand.
Yeah.
CLG's brand should be NA. They had a history of being the North American team. They had a history of sometimes even being all 5 North American. And
I think they brought the first Korean player over though.
with Seraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, but like, dismissing all that, like, what can CLG hold on to? We were North American jerseys, or we were American jerseys to MSI, and we made finals. We had Biofrost, Stixay, and Wiggly, three American players. Actually, Bio is Canadian, right? If I
Yeah,
remember
he's
correctly.
whatever. He's North American.
North
Yeah,
American.
he's North American, but they can like be like, we are investing into young North American talent like Bio, Stixay, and Wiggly. These will be the core faces of CLG, and I think that's what they should be pushing more so than like the old school friendship brand.
So it's a bad move completely to just get another. I assume it's just a bad move in general to get like another amateur talent for top lane like Viper, like put in Fallen Bandit for some time and
To Loco's point, like about being a single player away, let's say, from like competing legitimately for a world spot, like you don't want that player to be like highly variable. Like Viper might have carry performances, but every single playoffs in Academy he got shut down, which is not a
Yeah.
good look.
So the rumor is Viper to FlyQuest. That makes a lot of sense. FlyQuest isn't in a championship mode right now. They're like more about developing their brand, more being stable. So Viper to FlyQuest is on brand. It makes sense. Viper to CLG, when they already spent a lot for Power Beeble. Power Beeble is not a cheap player. As much as I down on him, a lot of people love Power Beeble, and they
I
would
love
even,
him.
yeah, they would put him third after Bjergsen and Jensen. There's
I might
people
not do that.
Okay. Not you, a lot of people. Mark.
Okay.
There's people that would put Power Beeble third over Bjergsen and Jensen. So
There's people
if you're
who put
picking up
Frog in
the
third.
or if you pick up the third best mid laner
Yeah.
in NA and you have a strong bot lane and a promising jungle, then you are one piece away from competing for Worlds. So yeah, Viper doesn't make sense. Go import, like kill the brand. You don't have a brand in Darshan anyways. Just kill the brand and get behind these North American players and do well and build your own brand off of that.
Wait, but weren't you saying
Big agree.
that they should get Flame? And Flame isn't a North American player.
I'm not saying make Flame the face. I'm saying whoever you get, make Stixay, Biofrost, and Wiggly the face.
He's saying you already have your like brand fit in those three guys, so
Sure.
just get the best player you can get right now to like hopefully get over the hump and go to Worlds, and then like when you're at Worlds, you're like, let's do interviews with these three guys and PoE even. 'Cause
Well,
why not?
the
PoE 's
good
pretty
news
funny.
is that I mean, for us at least, for in this discussion, is that I feel like Flame is on brand for them. You guys feel like they don't. If it doesn't matter if Flame's not on brand, so it's either way. We all agree that Flame should be on. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
probably.
hopefully they go do it.
Hopefully.
You heard that, CLG?
Yeah.
Hotline League plays general manager for CLG.
Because I just think CLG's far less interesting if they stick around with Darshan. I would love to see what feels like a renovated roster, and to me that's a change in 3 of the positions, not in 2 of them. So
yeah. Anyway,
I wanna
Travis, we got 3 more callers.
Yeah, I know,
Wait,
I know.
I want to ask Travis and Mark a question real quick.
Okay, we'll do it
I
quick.
had an owner reach out to me and say, the idea you brought up in Listen Loco, we actually heavily consider, and it affected our decision, and we watch it all the time.
Never.
Never.
No, we have to explain every time a guest comes on the show. We have to explain how it is because they haven't heard of it. They don't know what it is.
That's bullshit. Sebastian, Andy, Steve, were multiple times on the show. That's bullshit.
I don't know if they get ideas from it, but yes, they do like it. I was just teasing, but a lot of our guests do. A lot of the pro players don't know about it, but I am not so arrogant as to assume that our show is influencing what the pickups are for.
If there's
stuff.
any league ops people in here, anyone who has any clout in the industry and was ever swayed by any argument we've ever made in this show, please tweet or DM me so I can stroke my ego because I'm jealous of Loco right now.
I'm sure they have. There's no way it didn't influence them.
I mean,
at
you have
all.
to understand the majority of our calls or the majority of our
Twitch
content are
chat.
calls, right?
Yeah,
we got
you
I'm
guys give
Chippy
your own
over here,
opinion.
and do you think the owners care about what I'm Chippy thinks? I mean,
I don't think so. I posted CLG subreddit that PoE should be on there. Maybe that's why they got.
Okay,
I
well,
mean,
maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong then. I'm
Just
Chippy.
saying.
People call in and they're like, I think TSM is going to be the worst team in the world. They should get rid of all their players and get these 5 guys. And then we're in the rabbit hole. And it's
but you guys don't say that. You guys make logical arguments to what the callers are saying, and then people can owners and any kind of league ops people can see the logic in your arguments towards that. No.
Yeah, we have to move on to
or
the
we're
next
just
call.
stupid. I don't know.
Maybe we are. Maybe we're secretly through this show moving the course of league history. I'm Chippy. Thank you so much, and congrats on getting PoE onto CLG. That was a big move for you. Anything you want to say here at the end?
I just want to give a shout out to you guys for giving so much good league content. Loco with Listen Loco, Travis with this and interviews, and Mark with whatever else he does.
Yeah, whatever else he does. Thank you so much, Chippy.
Later, guys.
See ya. We got Boss Ben in the chat. Boss Ben, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fairfax, Virginia.
Fairfax, Virginia. I feel like we've had Fairfax, Virginia people on before. Thank you for being a sub. Thank you for being a sub. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Why is everyone lull-facing me and saying Darshan?
Darshan's in the chat.
Oh.
Man, it feels so unfair sometimes because I spent Darshan also. I'm fine with criticizing Darshan as a player and making suggestion for Darshan to be replaced, but criticizing Darshan as a person and they overlap. They are the same people. It's hard world.
Yes, it is such a struggle for you to have to say negative things about other players while the players in the chat. It's not the player that's struggling having to watch and hear people say negative things.
I mean,
that's not what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. Boss Ben, Darshan's in the chat, just so you know. So whatever you're gonna say, make it polite about him. But what do you want to talk about on the show?
It has nothing to do with Darshan. I think TL will be a lot stronger this year. I think they'll smash both splits even harder than last year, with Jensen and Koijie because I think they fit the team better.
Why do they fit the team better?
Sorry. I would say is more mechanically skilled in Pobelter, and I feel like mid lane is going to be an even more important role than last year due to the revert of the smite change, and the either self funneling or full funneling meta
That's
might
not
come
gonna
back a
make
little
it.
bit.
100% that's not going to make it.
No.
It might be fun for mid laners to get power farm, but it's not going to make it to LCS patch.
What, funnel?
Funnel /
yeah.
smite mid.
Okay, well, sorry, you've derailed him. Just continue your argument.
Sorry.
Well, that's pretty much it for Jensen. But then for Koijie, I was reading an interview that he was pretty much on board with working with Doublelift and saying that he would be very on board with melding to the team. And I feel like after Ole kind of melded to the team, we saw that he and Doublelift were performing a lot better. So I think that it'll be just faster than the Ole meld. think it'll just work out better.
Well, I don't know if Ole ever melded to the team in terms of the double lift side. It felt like, that disconnect was possibly part of that.
That's the past, Travis, and it's past 10 o'clock, so we're gonna speed through this. Loco, do you have are you close with Core JJ at all, and like know his personality and how you expect him to fit with double lift?
I've known him pretty closely 3 years ago. He's pretty much stayed the same person whenever I talk to him every now and then. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I do know him.
And do you think there's any potential, like, we know double lift can be abrasive. How do you think Core JJ will handle that kind of stuff?
I think Core has seen how much success that double has in NA, and he played AD carry against double lift, so Core will have some kind of a baseline respect towards double lift. And also, going into TL, like, Korean players always think of Afro, double lift, and Bjergsen being as very strong-headed, because that is just like the memes around those three players. Like, they say stuff like, if Afro doesn't like an AD, like that AD just dies on 100 Ds. Like, that's a meme in Korea, and I'm sure Core JJ has heard that meme. So whenever he is joining TL, like, he knows, like, hey, this is more a double lift team than it is my team, and he will like respect double lift wishes and like try to play with them more so than, hey, this is my team and I want to do this. I'm a former world champion.
So I'm not worried about Core JJ and double lift. I'm a little worried about Jensen and double lift because I am curious because I think Jensen is pretty strong-willed. A lot of people tend to forget that like Jensen was benched on C9 in the beginning of summer. Like, I think he might not be as easy of a teammate to get along with. I think maybe some people have not really thought about that too much, or it's not really talked about too much. But
he's had trouble with most of his junglers. I don't know how the Sven and other ones have been.
Blabber is the only Blabber and Hai are the only really good ones, and I feel like Blabber and Hai adapted to Jensen, not the other way around.
You didn't think Sven was good?
Sven and Jensen, there were some problems initially, right? So that's why Sven went to the bench and they moved up Blabber.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Okay, I see what you're saying now, sorry. Yeah, so he's had problems with a lot of people. I think Smithy's chill enough that it shouldn't be an issue. And like you said, it's about him and double lift. But like I said before, I think Jensen has shown that he's okay with other lanes being played around. Like, he might have a strong opinion on how to play the game, but at least like champion pool wise and his personal play style, it feels like it's relatively like meta dependent. If they're playing carry tops, he doesn't get that many resources. Sometimes they 2v2 jungle around mid all the time. It feels like he'll do what, for the most part, seems best for the team.
Yeah. And, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Boston.
I can't really speak for his personality. Some people are making the argument that he'll take resources from double lift. I don't think that really makes sense because, I feel like, especially at the beginning of Spring Split, it was kind of like a very top-heavy team where they focused a lot around Licorice, and Jensen was able to kind of do the supporting role. And so I think that'll be fine as well.
I think TSM, my bad. Team Liquid has a lot of glue pieces. I think Xmitty is very flexible. Impact is very flexible. He's so okay with not being played around. And Kane is also not a very, I would say, like a strong-minded coach, but he's a very good mediator. So yeah, there's definitely going to be problems with Jensen and Doublelift playing on the same team, but due to how much flexible some of the players are on TL and how good their staff has been about mediating problems, and everyone knows like TL is Doublelift's team. I don't think there are going to be a lot of butting heads between Jensen and Double, and it is going to solve itself out.
Oh, we'll have to see. Hey, Boss Ben, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Max Mofo, if it was him, for curving Travis super hard on the collab request.
Bossman, thank you so much for the call. Sorry you have to leave. It's really unfortunate. Okay. Really quickly, thank you to
not really quickly.
Vidov, Amtrak Trev for 3 months, OMG You Ate My Cookies 5 for 3, Aragon 42, and Ratchet Llama. Thank you. Dirty Poyer, who I believe I've seen your name.
Puer.
Dirty Puer. I believe I've seen your name in my Twitch chat before.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Okay. I was here last week.
Okay, where are you calling from? Remind me. Where?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay, sorry, your mic is a little... what do you want to talk about?
It's scuffed. I want to talk about 100 Thieves. I think this team is pretty overhyped.
Mm.
mid lane.
Where?
I think Huhi is just not in their mid lane.
Okay.
So I think Huhi used to, like 2 years ago, I think Huhi was a mid that would have worked for this team. But I think the Huhi that has played for the last 2 years is just not good enough to be on a top team.
So I have said when people ask me about the Huhi thing that you have to hope, if you're a 100 Thieves fan, you have to hope that Huhi was held back from his team, not that he was holding back his team. I think that's like one of the big reasons. If you want to believe in 100 T, you have to believe that for next year. And I'm curious what Mark and Loco think.
I think Huhi had a down year last year for sure. And where Huhi did really well was when he was with Afro. And CLG overall, as a mid laner, your performance reflects a lot off of your jungler. And Huhi is someone that is an enabler. Huhi is someone that performs well in a split push situation. And to do that, you need help of other people. To do well in a split push situation, you need to be somewhat ahead, and your team needs to be in a position where they can split push. Huhi is someone that roams a lot and plays off of jungles a lot. So by Huhi playing with Onda, who I think is going to be better than Reignover, and Huhi getting reunited with Afro, who he had a lot of success with in the past, I think we're going to see a much better version of Huhi. Like, if you want to make a debate on whether Huhi is a good player or a bad player, that's a separate discussion. But last year on CLG, I think there were a lot of factors that makes Huhi worse than his normal level, and I think on 100 Thieves, there's going to be a lot of factors that makes Huhi better than his normal level.
I think it's tough for me because I think culture fit wise, like this is a fantastic pickup for 100 Thieves, where you talk about Prawley saying they want to play this annoying play style, Afromu having like shot calling macro focus, Huhi much the same way, as like Loco was saying, a lot more about team play than like individual play, and I think that lines up very well with like what 100 Thieves overall likes to do. And if Someday and Bang have good splits and they're like where most of the resources are going, Huhi's a guy who can very much support both of them. That said, my biggest concerns with this team is like, what's their early game plan? Because they've never been good about playing around Someday. As long as Someday has been in North America, no team has been able to like actually play around him super well, despite how good he is. And if Bang is not the early game focal point, it's not really going to be Huhi. Onda's not like as aggressive as some of the other younger North American junglers, like a Dardoch or a Wiggly, or even a Contracts necessarily. So like, I have a little bit of concern about what this team's early game plan is, though I think if Someday and Bang play pretty well, I think there's no way this team is bad. I think there's almost no way this team with Huhi is straight up bad.
Yeah, I mean, this team with Huhi is going to have two really clear strengths overall as a team. They're going to be great in 1-3-1 situations. Huhi is a great split pusher. Someday's a great split pusher. If they can get they can get to 1-3-1 situation in a good way, they're going to be really strong. I think this team will be excellent when they play bot-oriented late game teamfight comps. It's just early game, I agree with Mark, is hugely going to be problematic. Like, Huhi and Onda aren't known for their early game prowess or the 2v2s. And currently how the game is patched right now, early game means so much. So yeah, it's a problem that they are going to have to solve.
And I think specifically the matchup with Liquid, I don't like for 100 Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Liquid is, if they're going to look snowballing through Jensen, I think that's going to be pushable against Huhi. And so I feel like the game could snowball out before they get their Koreans to really get their items and carry.
Yeah, I mean, before the 1-3-1 can happen, you need to play the mid 2v2, and mid 2v2, Jensen x mid D look a lot more scary than Huhi Onda. So they are going to struggle versus Liquid, but you can still struggle versus Liquid, be the second best team in NA, and go to Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we get called out all the time for being 100T haters on the show, so I think Hui's going to fucking hard carry. That dude is clearly top 3 mid laners in North America, and 100T is going to pop off next year. Kelby in chat at the start of this conversation said 100T will have better success with their merch than their roster next year, so I just want to say that I disagree with that. Dirty Pollo, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to say at the end here?
Nope, that's it. Have a nice night.
All right, very cool. Thank you so much.
I mean, regarding Kelby's comment about merch, like 100 Thieves merch is probably the best in the game, so I also agree with Kelby. I don't think 100 Thieves League of Legends will be the best in League, but I do think their merch will still be the best in the game.
John Now 69, thank you for the Twitch Prime, and Wild Lawrence for the 700 bits, who says Locos hair is on fleek. We got our last caller here, Tom Shu. Tom Shu, where are you calling from?
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm calling from Virginia. It's
Virginia.
1 in the morning, and I'm exhausted, and I got to get up at 6, but it's worth it.
Okay, well, we'll get through this quick. Sorry that we had you wait till the end of the call. Just remember, it's Mark's fault, not mine. Tom Shu, what do you want to say here at the show?
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the Cody Sun situation, right? Of course, you guys already know that Cody Sun tweeted out that he's likely not going to be starting out for any LCS
yep.
teams to split. Yeah, LCS, teams to split, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of surprised, but then I read this tweet from this guy named Barry Lee, or at Idleweiss, Korean Barry Lee. It said,
Barry.
Yeah, how you doing, Barry? It says, "Low off-season trend I've noticed. Teams are actively avoiding players that have been labeled having difficult personalities. Whether that label is fairly or unfairly given is up for debate." And that sort of got me thinking. And now, like, I understand that when free agency happens and owners start, talking to each other about what players do we want to recruit, and it's like, oh, do we want to recruit from this guy or this guy? Does he have a problematic personality, or is he a good communicator? And it feels like that sort of like label is being attached to Cody Sun. And I want to get your thoughts and to understand, do you think that kind of label is being fairly applied on Cody Sun, and do you think it'll have like a negative impact on his career going forward?
See, like I just tried to say that we're 100T haters, and I was trying to be nice, and then you bring this up.
I gotta know.
My take is this: like, I don't know if Nadeshot did Cody any favors by not discussing what was going on with 100T. I think people are assuming that Cody was toxic, whether or not he was, and I think that this is potentially a side effect of that. Now, theoretically, I have to acknowledge.
Well, I think it's also a side effect from when Kobe and I kind of talked about how we had heard behind the scenes there were problems with him even before.
It's all Nadeshot's fault. You shouldn't
Nadeshot
take any. Yeah.
Nadeshot did Cody a favor by not talking negatively of him, in my opinion. Nadeshot could have aired out dirty laundry. He chose to not air out dirty laundry and take the brunt of the fan blame onto the org instead of onto Cody.
I just think I worry that in the absence of him discussing it, it let people's imaginations run wild on what was happening there.
That's only true for fans, though, Travis. I think I would hope orgs and players are able to figure out the truth of it.
You have a lot of high hopes for our orgs.
No, I don't think I actually have really low hopes that people can keep their mouths shut. And
that might be fair.
People talk about oh, how's it going on your team? This shit. Players always talk, and so I have no doubt that whatever the fans didn't hear about what happened behind 100 Thieves, other people at least heard grumblings, or if not outright, the whole story. Sorry, you go, Loco.
Talking to Immortals people, I heard negative things about Cody's behavior. Talking to 100 Thieves people, I heard negative things about Cody's behavior. So unless everyone I've talked to from both orgs are lying to me, or there has to be some truth in that. Is it fair that Cody didn't get on a team? I think Cody had a shot to get onto Optic, and Optic actively made a decision to not get Cody. So, do you disagree, whoever whistled?
Oh, no. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, that's some pretty spicy information or assumption you got there.
Optic is in a situation where they are not overspending for players. Cody wants to be on an LCS team. He's someone that went to Worlds. He's someone that has decent success. Cody is an obvious option for Optic. Optic clearly made a choice to not pick up Cody.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Well, then I'll just say really quickly, I apologize, because I had assumed that Nadeshot was not helping him out and that people were filling in the blanks, but I stand corrected. He was probably doing him a favor, as Loco said.
I think the other thing, too, is if you look at a lot of the names that are signed right now across these on that spreadsheet, I think Cody's actually really good, and Loco and I had different opinions at him on Loco Lets Loose, but we both agreed he's a decent player, but if I'm TSM, I'm not ditching Sven for him. If I'm C9, I'm not ditching Sneaky for him. If I'm CLG, I'm not ditching Stixxay for him. If I'm TL, I'm not ditching Doublelift. If I'm Echo Fox or Clutch, and you want to avoid a potentially toxic personality, and your option's Apollo, who's pretty decent and is one of the nicest guys in the league, you're going to go with him. Definitely has more upside, arguably, and might have a better attitude. Then you have Bang, and then you have Turtle, and it's who in this league is he clearly, out of those 9 guys I just said, clearly supposed to... Whose job is he supposed to take? Maybe Piglet is the only one you could say maybe.
Yeah, so the only team that could realistically take on Cody is Optic. And when Cody tweets out, I'm not going to be on an LCS team, Optic said no to Cody. We can make that assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe one org decided that wasn't a good fit for whatever reason, and I think the reputation going too far. Like, I don't know if that's even necessarily the case, because just on a skill level, I actually think the AD carry position looks pretty good.
He was ranked #1 in spring.
I think Cody's really good too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think skill-wise he should absolutely be in the NALCS. I just can't look at one of these rosters and say, yeah, they really fucked up not taking Cody there instead. Yeah. Aside from maybe Clutch, Echo Fox, and Optic, and we don't know what he's asking for behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, players know when their value is down because they don't have multiple options, and they know that their agents tell them that. Like, they know that teams aren't dying to sign them, so they're gonna have to lower the price a little bit. As for Cody's skill level, I think Cody's a decent player, but two core things that I think about Cody for is making consistent crucial mistakes in team fights, and that's a death sentence for AD carries. And also the attitude thing, like, with those two things, I can see why teams think it's better to invest into an NA talent. Best bet for Cody is play in Academy and kill everyone in Academy. Be the best damn AD carry in an Academy, and after spring, there will be problems on some of the teams. There will, and if you can show that you are the best damn Academy AD carry player, you will get picked up.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance this is the end of Cody in NALCS.
Yep.
Wait, just one last quick follow-up question to that. I mentioned beforehand that especially like when you start getting that label of being toxic, it seems kind of hard. Do you think it's possible to ever get that, that stink of a label off of you? Because, it's happened to Dartic, it's happened to Phoenix, it's happened to
Because the same way, the problem that you hear, the problem that happens is people get labeled it, and then guess what? It's like really hard for people to change. They keep being toxic. There's a reason why if they weren't toxic and they were playing great, they would go to a team and they'd stay there, because guess what? They would have completely changed. So I think it's just a struggle.
I think it's harder to change a personality than a label.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if
it's more of a
the label's
personality
sticking, if the label's sticking, it's probably because the personality hasn't actually changed.
Loco.
So I can speak up on this. So on TSM, I actually had a label as lazy after TSM because there were a few times where I didn't do my best and I sort of earned the label lazy. After that, like, I told myself I'm never going to be fucking lazy. I'll be the hardest worker on the team. Up till Golden Guardians, there was a point where I was called lazy. I think your reputation will always be a year or 2 years behind you. But after that, like, I mean, I got criticized for different things, but no one thought of me as lazy. And enough word got around from my time on Team Liquid, my time on Goldcoin United. By I got to Golden Guardians, my label as lazy was done. And as people talked to that players and other coaches and ownership that I worked with, like, the lazy label died. I think Cody is going to have the toxic label. I think Dardoch is going to have the toxic label for a while, even after they change. And it's up to them to be consistently non-toxic and consistently healthy teammate for that label to disappear. Reputation is going to lag behind your actual behavior.
And conversely, there's some people that just remain a jerk. Like Mark, always been considered a jerk. He does a show with me. I know he's a jerk. And I tell everyone he's a jerk. That's going to stay with him forever. Mark's a jerk. That's not going to change.
And some people don't really change exactly what people think about them, but they clean up the edges, like Doublelift. He was someone who, by end of 2015, people thought he was like the worst teammate ever. But nowadays, people are like, yeah, he's abrasive, a little rough around the edges, but he's not so bad.
Yeah.
Like, you can even, like, there's shades. It's not non-toxic or toxic. There's a gradient.
Tom Shu, I know you need to go to sleep because you're up late and you got to get up in a couple hours. So,
quick shout outs. Shout out to Earther and DMK. Thanks for staying up so late and letting me spit knowledge on Reddit. And also, guys, remember to support your NA talent. 1 like equals 1 NA mid laner.
Thank you, Tom Shu. Appreciate it.
All right, have a great night,
Did you
guys.
just vote manipulate on our show? I wasn't actually listening.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, that's the show. We're running a little bit on time, so we'll do shout outs really quickly. Mark?
I want to die.
Loco?
Thank you to Travis and Mark for having me on the show. I think it's really important that content creators support each other and work with each other and not have small dick energy and be jealous. And yeah, like, I'm really thankful to any kind of content creator that work with me, like, regardless of their size, regardless of their fame. And yeah, like I hope we can create more content in the future. I'll be back on the show whenever you guys want me. I'll try to bring Doran on if you guys want Doran, and either of you guys are welcome back on any of my show or anytime you guys want to help with me.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Mark, your webcam went away.
Well, then it knows how I feel.
I know.
Because I did not do that.
Listen, exclamation mark PO box in the chat if you want, and look in the description. Broden and I are going to be doing this fun video. I'll keep it short, but we're going to be opening stuff that you guys send us. It's a fun thing that I stole from a popular group of people called Offline TV that Mark works with. We're going to be streaming, opening up a bunch of cool stuff tomorrow. That's not the stuff you guys sent me, but something else.
Have you got any weapons yet?
I have not gotten any weapons yet.
We get a lot of weapons. You guys should send Travis some weapons.
Please don't send me weapons. They're probably
Why not? They're
there's
fucking cool.
legal
You get swords
issues.
and they're not. No, there's swords and kunais.
Please
and...
only send legal options in the mail. I just opened the PO box today, so I haven't received anything. But PO box.
Dildos are a good option too.
Don't go
Oh
anywhere
my
because
God.
I'm gonna stick around on stream and keep talking about some stuff. And then once I'm done, I will host Loco. Loco, are you streaming again tonight, or are you done?
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat with my friends. Hopefully my food hasn't gotten cold, and I'll be back after that.
Okay.
Thanks for the host, Travis.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna stop recording. That's the show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed Hotline League episode 56. Thanks so much to Alienware for their support, and thanks everyone for watching.